Round one. Fight! Piece of me? I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
Autobots, we must stop Megatron, no matter what the cost. Hey, I'm just fresh off of watching the Transformers movie. Welcome to our old school tier ranker chart. And man, was that movie a freaking blast! Like, man, I don't know. Like, they need to go back and make more of those type of movies. But anyways, so that might be one of my favorites. But welcome to our tier ranker fights number 87. This is best animated movies 1989 and earlier. So we figured we'd just do everything before the 90s because there's about a little over 50 that we were able to come up with. So we figured that's about right for our tournament fights. And yeah, I'm your host. I'm Jordan, the movie hero Anderson. And I'll go ahead and introduce my panel for tonight. I'll start with my co-host, Austin Pez Howell. How's it going?
I watched 3 for this. I had 2 freshes and a rewatch I haven't seen since I was probably 8 years old. So
nice.
So we'll talk about those when we get to them. But yeah, we kind of lumped all these earlier ones together because really, when you start getting back into like 60s, 50s, 40s, you know, the animation was so hard to do that there's only a couple of movies for each of those decades. So we just kind of lumped all these together.
Yeah, it takes so long to do it. I wish I could remember the name of the guy. I'll also see if I can look him up. But I met a guy at a Comic-Con that worked on a ton of like really old school animation. He even worked on the original Snow White, and so he did that, and then he did like some other like old school Disney movies and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for this, and there's a lot more S tiers on this than I would have thought too. Like I was going through my personal list, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a lot of S tiers. No, there's a fair amount actually. So
yeah.
But we also have Jacob Barber. How's it going?
Going well. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is gonna be fun. A lot of these I grew up with, and here's how I know I'm getting old, because there are NBA players now going into the Hall of Fame that I grew up watching.
Yep.
And it's age is catching up. I hope I age as well as some of these movies did, though.
Yeah, well, my boy Kevin Garnett, he went in with Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan. So I mean, those are guys that we probably all grew up watching. So
here's the crazy thing, just as a side note: LeBron James and Dwayne Wade got drafted in the same class, right?
Yeah.
LeBron is still playing. Dwayne Wade just got into the Hall of Fame. That is how long.
Yeah, that was just crazy. Yeah. Or look at guys like Carmelo Anthony too. Like I don't know if he's still playing. Maybe he might be on a team somewhere.
He's a free agent. He could be playing.
Yeah, right. This is crazy. But anyways, we'll stick to movie talk. But we'll bring in our next panelist. We have Richie Goodacre. How's it going?
Yeah, no, I was worried that I hadn't seen as many movies from 80s or earlier, but I think I've seen enough, so that's gonna be cool. But yeah, no, I get the idea, argument of being, pretty old. Yeah, it comes with like the wrestling as well. There's a lot of people from the Attitude Era getting inducted now, or people even from Ruthless Aggression era. You're like, oh shit, I'm old now. So yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, no, it should be fun. There'll be ones that I'll try to get higher that it might be more difficult than others, given certain studio. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the studios and stuff. Yeah, a little bit here,
but yeah,
a little bit, but cool. We also have a guy on the panel who's probably seen most of these because he's a big animation guy. We have Brian Nussbaum. How's it going?
Very good. Give me flashbacks of the Take 3 rank of the 80s movie. Most of the panel here was on that episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and here to talk about my favorite genre animation and talk about. I did some rewatch for film that I grew up watching. So yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. And he was kind enough to be a last minute addition because it's always fun having people drop out last minute, but he's always willing to do it. We have Malcolm Lay. How's it going?
It's going good. I don't have any Hall of Fame analogies. I just know I'm old.
Yeah. I think somewhere they have some kind of movie Hall of Fame, but I don't know much about that. So I don't know. Maybe that's the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Walk of Fame, yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably be the closest thing. Probably.
I just know I told my mom the other day I'm 3 years away from being 40, and she about fainted. So
yeah. You want to make your parents feel old.
Yeah, right. and I'm a year and a half away from my 20th high school reunion, which makes me feel old. Also, yeah.
I'm 2 years and 2 weeks away from being 40 myself.
Yeah.
Getting
Well,
I'm not
shout out to my friend Sarah. She's in the chat as always. She says hello from the other side because whenever she goes live on TikTok, she plays that song. That's kind of a thing that she does. But yeah. So Austin, I guess as the coach, you want to break it down how it's going to work tonight?
Yeah, so we've got a list of movies, like I said, from 1989 and earlier, all animation. We'll be looking to get, a definitive top 10 here tonight and 3 honorable mentions. Just a few minutes. Jacob Barber will be our tier master this evening, so he was kind enough to make that for us, and he'll be kind of running the screen for that. We'll go up and down the ladder. Each person will get a chance to nominate one of the movies on the list for a tier, and it starts with S tier at the top. That's the best of the best that we're looking for the top 10 in, and then it goes like grades in school, A, B, C, D, F. We need at least 3 people on a panel to have seen it to get a qualifying vote up on the chart. We'll go for about roughly 2 hours or so, and then we'll wrap it up with kind of a last minute sort of Hail Mary last chance round. I'll get to that when we get to that, about 2 hours in. But other than that, we'll get these nominations going and see what happens and see what makes those high tiers. So
yeah. I kind of rethought my whole process going into these tier rankers because before I've been a little more picky on some, but I'm trying not to do that so much. And just like I mean, if I like it, I mean, put it at A or S. If I at least enjoy watching it. So I mean, but we'll see though. Like it does get a little picky at some places, but yeah. So. And we always start at the bottom of the ladder, so it'll be Malcolm first. So he'll be the first one to nominate. So what do you want to nominate?
Yeah, I'm going to go for one that I've watched many times as a young lad, and it's one that I probably wore out the VHS that I illegally sort of taped from TV many times. But that's The Brave Little Toaster. It's one of those ones that when we were doing the 80s animated movie, I knew I had to rewatch it for that because I haven't seen it in a while, and it's free on YouTube, so it's easy to watch. But yeah, it's just a really good movie. It's basically the prototype of Toy Story before Toy Story even existed. But yeah, it's such a really great movie. It does have a few moments that are really scary, especially for kids, but that being said,
A
it's
few?
still
Bro, there
Yeah.
are 4 or 5 scenes in this thing that traumatized me as a 36-year-old. Are you insane?
Yeah.
I'm rewatching this damn thing.
Yeah.
well. I mean,
Yep.
my point was going to say, but as I was going to finish off by saying, it's like that's going to be the same for a lot of these early '80s
Yeah.
animated movies, because they are all really dark before they started going a little bit lighter as the years
Yeah.
went on. But
Yeah.
so yeah, Brave Little Toaster easily is for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I rewatched the Little Toaster a few weeks ago. Is it the best? It's like a top 10 of the whole decade for days. It's more of a B tier for me. I like the story, love the characters, but for me, it's a B tier.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Richie.
I'm in between both you guys. I don't think it's S tier, but I do think it's underrated. I think it's one of one of the first animations I watched. I think it's charming. I think it's good. It is very it is dark and terrifying in a lot of places, but I do really enjoy it. I'm going to go A. I do think it's a good movie. I do think it's a good movie that holds up. It's better than the sequels.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, if we were doing just 80s, I would give this an S tier pretty easily. But since we're combining all these decades, it does drop down to an A for me. I did rewatch it for that 80s rankum that we did, and I enjoyed it. It was a lot darker than I remembered, but I think that's true of true of a lot of 80s animated movies. You'll see that there are a lot of dark moments in those, as I'm sure we'll talk about tonight. But yeah, it's an A. It's not quite like a top 10 for me of the selection that we have, but I still really enjoy it.
Yeah. And Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, this is one of the ones I was anxious to rewatch that I hadn't seen since I was a very little kid, and yeah, it was on YouTube, so I watched it over a couple of days. And yeah, this is the prototype for like almost every early Pixar movie that came out. I mean, this is a Pixar movie. It's Toy Story meets a little bit of Homeward Bound or something, before Homeward Bound. And like I said, there were parts of this thing that were traumatizing me as a grown ass man. I mean, there's a junkyard scene where one of the cars, instead of, is about to be picked up by the magnet thing and willingly just jumps on the conveyor belt and commits suicide because his life is over. It's horrifying. And there's a
Yeah.
that gets so depressed about being like half broken that he spontaneously combusts and basically kills himself. This movie is insane, and it's nuts when you go back and watch it. It's yeah, but I mean, at the same time, if a movie can do that, it's S tier. I'm going S tier for Brave Little Toaster. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up some of those same things. I haven't seen it since I was pretty little, maybe like 12 years old. Might have been the last time that I watched it. Saw it multiple times when I was like a kid. But yeah, there's some really creepy things in this movie. Yeah, I always think of that junkyard scene. Like it always freaked me out. And then there's a scene like a creepy clown that's like a firefighter guy that looks like really like
he smiles
pretty
and
scary.
under his breath just goes run, and smoke comes out of his mouth, and it's
Yeah, out of his
horrifying.
mouth. Yeah.
This movie is insane. If anybody hasn't watched it recently, go watch this movie. It's insane. Yeah.
And the air conditioner blowout, which famously that character is voiced by Phil Hartman, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, like I really appreciate some of the darker tones that a lot of these movies had in the like 70s, 80s, 90s, or I guess just probably they're mostly dark in the 70s and the 80s, 90s maybe when they took a little like lighter turn for some of them, but not all movies. But for this, I'll give it an S. Yeah.
And if you want another Pixar connection, I only just found this out just now. It is composed by David Newman, who's the older brother of Thomas and Randy Newman.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, and John Lasseter was supposed to direct this movie, and he dropped out.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you can see the early Pixar influence. So Yeah, so 3 S's, 2 A's, and a B. 3 S is usually enough as long as the other votes
Yeah.
are high to get into the S for now, but it could get bumped out if there are higher votes.
Yeah, or it might be lower on the
So yeah, we'll see.
in our top 10 maybe.
Yeah, it might be
Yeah.
a low S for now. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go to Brian for your nomination.
I'm going to pick
Yeah.
a movie for one of the earliest Disney movies. I'm going to pick Pinocchio for S tier. This is a
Yeah.
movie I remember watching. Watching it a child a long time ago. It has a lot of dark moments. The whole Pleasure Island sequence, and even Sean Boy, one of the villains, like treating him into firewood. The animation still holds up to this day. If you rewatch it, the whole village sequence perfectly holds up to this day. So S tier.
Yeah. Sounds good. Richie, what do you think?
Yeah. So this is one of the animations from there. Like I've watched a lot. I really enjoy it. I think it's still like we've because I think it's public domain. So they try to recreate this movie a lot. To varying degrees of success. You got the Tom Hanks one, and then you got the Guillermo del Toro one, which is good. But this one is still a bit, in my opinion, better than both of those. This movie is great, and it's really charming. So I think it still holds up, and I think it's definitely an S tier. I think it's still one of their best. So
Yeah. Jacob.
I really enjoy Pinocchio. It actually is my second favorite Pinocchio movie. I do like Del Toro's a lot. That could just be recency bias. Who knows? Ask me again later, and maybe it'll change. But no, this one's still, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, again, dark moments. I mean, When You Wish Upon a Star is such an iconic song that like it became Disney's song. Like it's such a good song. Pretty sure, I don't know. I know this one. Pretty sure this one for best song. I don't know what other Academy Award it won, but it did win 2. I'm sure had best animated been a thing in the 40s, this would have been a shoe-in because this one is really great. Again, I'm judging it based off the selection that we have, and it doesn't quite hit that top 10 for me. Although I do really love it. I'm going to say that a lot for this because I don't think there's like a bad movie in the selection that we have. I think these movies are all really solid. But again, this is one that's just outside for me, so I have this at an A.
Yeah, that sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
I mean, this is one of the ones I watched a lot as a kid. I think it still absolutely works. I think the whale sequence at the end is still really spectacularly animated. All the Pleasure Island stuff is still pretty terrifying in a great way. Like, it really puts the fear in you. But I think it's just, again, they keep the story very simple in this one. There's a reason that they pretty much almost did a shot for shot with the Tom Hanks one, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't have that charm. It's just weird to have that same animated character amongst like real people. It just doesn't work.
But also the CGI in that movie is fucking ugly.
It's bad. It's
ugly.
There are some of these that are just meant for pure animation. They're not meant to be live action, and I think this is absolutely a good case of that. It works. And I just have a quick aside. We had a neighbor growing up, a friend of me and my sister's, that was their family was Puerto Rican. They had a bunch of these Disney movies, but the Spanish versions. So whenever we put this on one time, and there's a scene where Geppetto's like yelling, for Pinocchio, around the town. So the Spanish version, it's Pinocho, Pinocho. And it's just funny watching it in Spanish, but it still worked. You can still kind of get the story, even if you don't understand it. But that goes to show the classic Disney animation. It works even just visual storytelling. So I'll go for S tier on Pinocchio.
Yeah, well, this is the only Pinocchio that exists. They've never made another one ever, and like no one's ever remade it. This is the only one, and it is an S tier because it's great. It is that good, and it really holds up. I mean, for a movie from the 1940s to still hold up like that, it's like crazy. It's like really a pretty great achievement. And when I was a kid, I would always tell people, like, when I get married, I'm gonna have my honeymoon at Disney World, and I'm going to sit with my wife and watch the fireworks while they play When You Wish Upon a Star and all that stuff. And like now, maybe I won't do that so much, but I think that it's great. and it's got some dark things too when they go off to the whatever the like
Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island.
yeah. Yeah, the Pleasure Island. Yeah, yeah. And when they go off there, and then when he turns into a donkey, then he gets swallowed by a whale. That like, yeah. So it's great. Yeah, S tier.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Malcolm.
Sorry.
Yeah, the other Oscar nomination that it won was Best Original Score.
That makes sense.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I like Pinocchio. I don't think I really watched it that much as a kid. I mean, it's one of those ones like I grew up with the Pinocchio books more than the Disney movie, so I remember watching Disney movies like that looks nothing like the Pinocchio from the books. It's more wooden-y puppet, but I mean, it's one of those ones like, well,
Yeah.
you know what I meant.
Yeah,
And
I know.
when I was a
Word,
kid, I
wouldn't
made up words. Who did?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like. So when they announced the live action remake, I was like, this could be interesting because I was more curious. But then what we got was just didn't work because Pinocchio looked more plastic in that remake than an actual wooden puppet, which just
Yeah.
took away from it. And they CGI'd stuff that just wasn't necessarily CGI, like the cat. But I do like the animated Pinocchio. I am going to give it an A though. So
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they like CGI'd like a little expression on the cat or something, but the whole cat, yeah, it looked weird.
The French version of Pinocchio where Roberto Benigni is Geppetto is Nightmare Fuel.
Which one is actually two French versions of
there's a
Benigni.
French version where he's Pinocchio, and there's a French version where he's
Geppetto. Yeah, that's why.
the one where he's Geppetto is.
Yeah.
And the Roberto Benigni, that one is also Nightmare Fuel. Ugh.
That's what we're talking about.
There's a Polyshark Pinocchio.
Yeah.
I thought that one was Italian.
No,
I think they are Italian.
Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Richie, you're up. So, what do you want to nominate?
All right, I'll go with one that came out in the best year of in the history of ever, 1989, because maybe someone was born that would be amazing. I'm going to go with The Little Mermaid, and this is S tier in my opinion. I think it's one of the it might be biased, one of the first movies I ever saw because obviously I was little, but I have gone back to it a few times since. I think one of the more memorable has more memorable music to it. Under the Sea has more memorable has more memorable characters Sebastian. I think Ursula's a very menacing sort of villain. I'm looking forward to Melissa McCarthy and the remake. I think that's really good casting. So, I just think everything about this works. I think it holds up a lot. So, Little Mermaid. Yes,
Yeah, sounds good. Jacob, what do you think about The Little Mermaid?
My biggest gripe with this movie: why didn't Ariel just write the prince a note?
Yeah,
It saved a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of you could just
grief. Yeah,
but then we wouldn't get a movie.
Everything would have been fine. Just write a note. And she doesn't know how to write. Well, she signed her name away. She knows how to write. Okay. Anyway, this movie is amazing. I love this movie. This is going to get an S tier for me as well, I think. It's a fun story. The music is a lot of fun. Ursula is a great villain with a great villain song. They like Pat Carroll so much that they asked her to come back for the direct to video sequel. She's good. The movie's good. I've revisited it quite a bit. It's responsible for kicking off the Renaissance, saving Disney and giving us many more top quality animated movies. So I think The Little Mermaid absolutely deserves to be in the S tier.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, no, this might be on this list, probably my number one. Yeah, this one's going to be an easy S tier. It's funny that this gets lumped into the '90s Disney Renaissance, even though it was '89, but it was the kickoff to the Renaissance. And
Yep.
so looking at it casually, you might be like, oh, it probably came out in like 1990, right? No, it's '89. But it's great. And I got re-obsessed with this movie after I got a chance to meet, three of the main cast members, like Jodie Benson and Christopher Barnes and Pat Carroll,
Nice.
and they're all just the best. And fantastic voice acting performances. Yeah, I legitimately think Pat Carroll as Ursula is like one of the best villain performances ever. I think she's having so much fun, and she's just charismatic with every word. That Poor Unfortunate Soul song is one of my favorite villain songs. It's a great song. And yeah, a movie that can have legitimately like maybe arguably like 4 classic songs that all work with like that, Kiss the Girls, Under the Sea, and Part of Your World, like are all absolute banger classics. Like they're awesome. So this one is probably going to be number one for me. Spoiler alert when it's all said and done for what I'm going to vote for. But I'm going to give it easy S to The Little Mermaid.
I'm excited to see what Melissa McCarthy does with Ursula, but part of me is hoping that I don't know if she can sing or not, but part of me is hoping that if they just don't do the song.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm interested more to see the runtime because this original one gets it done in 82 minutes, and I'm afraid it's going to be like, oh, here's this new one, 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm going to be like, what the hell are you guys
there's
doing?
a lot of that. Like even I looked up the runtime for Dungeons and Dragons that's coming out. It's like 2.25 hours. Like really, dude? Minute. Anyway.
So I don't think there's been a announced runtime yet. It's not out there, but I'm interested to see because this movie gets it done in under 90 minutes and tells everything you need to tell. So I'm curious to see what they do.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they do like basically everything from the animated movie and the live action one, but then they add just a little bit to it because that's what I like. I like when they kind of keep it pretty similar. They add a little bit, maybe add 5 minutes. 10 minutes tops, and like that's good for me. Like so yeah, and I'm not like terribly excited for live action remakes. I'm like kind of over these Disney live action remake. I don't think we need them, and we got like 5 more coming. It's like really like Disney is running out of ideas. Come on, but. Like probably what I'll do, I'm not going to run out and see opening weekend. I'll wait like a week or two and just kind of see what the word of mouth. Maybe talk to some people whose opinions on movies I really trust, and then I'll decide what I want to do. But this animated one is great. Yeah, like pretty much everything that all you guys said. The music's great. Like it's just one of those ones that like growing up. Like I was just like, well, I'm not going to watch Little Mermaid. That's for girls or whatever. When I was a little kid, but I mean, the more and more that I get older, like I watch this thing all the time, even as an adult, and like sing along with all the music, and like I know most of the music by heart, and yeah, and it's great character, it's great story. It gets like a little dark, but not too dark. So yeah, I'll say S tier for sure. Malcolm.
I mean, if people go see Disney's original movies in theaters, maybe they won't have to resort to remaking old classics.
Yeah, right.
Because look at Strange World. Like, that was one of the most original movies, and no one went to see it.
At the same time, make a good movie, and I'll go watch it.
At the same time, market it like most people.
Well, you need to market it properly because I actually really like Strange World. They just didn't market it right.
Yeah. I mean, that's my point. Like, everyone goes like, "Oh, Disney's blowing out ideas." They probably really haven't. They just think, "Well, no one's going to see our original stuff." Well, yes, the marketing isn't there either, but no one goes to see the original stuff. They're going to think they're going to think no one wants the original stuff. So it's a bit of a it's a bit of a catch-22 there. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. Like I always go into these live action remakes with open mind. Like I never go into movies wanting to hate them. And it's just one of those. That's why I end up liking some of these live action remakes more than other people. But I'm intrigued by this. Like, Melissa McCarthy does look really menacing as Ursula. This could end up being one of her best movies. Pretty ironically, which is not a hard bar past, to be honest.
Yeah.
But as for the actual animated Little Mermaid, I do love it. This is another one I watched a lot as a kid, and it's still going to be an S for me. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to give it S tier as well. Great voice cast, Joy Benson, Pat Carey, R.I.P., Samuel Wright, R.I.P. as well.
Yeah.
Great music by Harold Ashman and Alan Menken. They did a great job writing the lyrics for this, saving Disney. And also, I still remember watching the VHS tape, and they had like Joy Benson herself appear and introduce the movie as well.
Mhm.
So S tier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
All right.
unanimous.
It's going to be at the
S
top
tier.
of the top right now,
Yeah.
Jacob. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, get over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't want to.
no,
do it.
he
You
just
gotta,
doesn't want to move.
You just got to do it the
Yeah.
other way. Yeah.
Just gotta force it.
Yeah. All right. But Jacob, the tier master
Yeah.
himself, what are you gonna slide up there yourself?
I remember watching this once, and I didn't remember anything. Rewatched it. Oh my goodness, what a movie Fritz the Cat is. You can't really see it, but the poster says we're not rated X for nothing, baby, because this movie earns that rating. This movie features animal orgies. This movie features crows being depicted as black people. This is definitely talking. It's from the 70s. It's definitely political. If anything, I'm bringing it up because I think this movie deserves to be at least watched once by everybody. It's got some humor. The animation isn't gonna wow you, but so some of the scenes might. The movie ends, spoilers for a 50-year-old movie. The movie ends with a foursome in a hospital bed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it really does speak on some things, and if you put yourself in the if you can try to put yourself in the mindset of the early 70s, it'll make sense. So I really enjoyed it. It's another one that's got a pretty short runtime. There was a sequel. I haven't seen the sequel, and I didn't know about the sequel until after I finished watching this, and I was looking at some things up about it. And that one was more like of an anthology and not as well received. If you think of this one as being well received, but no, if anything, this is an interesting movie that I think you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. There's I don't think there's any in between for Fritz the Cat. So I'll put it at an A. I don't even know if it's going to stay there. I don't know if enough people have seen it, but I just wanted to bring it up because I rewatched it and I had a good time with it.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
Cool. I don't know what this is. So, surprisingly, when I was growing up, I didn't hear about an animal orgy cat movie. So, and we didn't watch it over and over again on VHS.
You didn't have you didn't wear out the VHS of this one?
I didn't wear that one out. I was more of a Mary Poppins guy.
Movie.
A little different tone.
Yeah, a little bit.
I want to rent out the animal orgy cat movie.
Right. It is interesting that it's not streaming anywhere. You have to dig into internetarchive.com to even try to watch this goddamn thing. or Daily Motion in 10 parts.
That's not how I watched it.
It's right. Yeah. I don't know what Fritz the Cat is, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Well, I've heard of this movie. I just haven't seen it, but I've heard of it though, and how it was pretty wild for even back in the 70s, and yeah, I don't even think they even do X-rated movies that would go to theaters. It's just NC-17 now. So, yeah. So I can't really say anything. I haven't seen it. So, but Malcolm, have you seen it?
the person that voiced Big Bertha was in Family Matters.
Oh, really?
She played Estelle Mother Winslow.
Oh,
But-
shit.
Oh, wow.
Mother Winslow.
Yeah.
But as have I seen the movie? No, I haven't.
Mother Winslow.
Jacob sold it so much I really want to watch it.
Although I will say, if you go back and watch Family Matters, Mother Winslow was really thirsty on that show.
Yeah, she was.
She was thirsting over everybody on that guy, and always saying how she was like hooking up with other dudes on that show, like or something. Like she was very horned up on that show. If you go back and watch,
Yeah, it's true. But Brian,
I have
seen
never
Fritz and
never
Eddie?
seen this movie, but the premise sounds interesting.
Yeah. Well, Richie, I imagine you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've heard of this movie. I think maybe Nostalgia Critic did a review on it. Maybe I've seen it, but I've heard of this movie. And yeah, you've sold me on it. I want to watch it. I kind of, but I haven't seen it.
As
Yeah,
long as I
maybe-
told
maybe
a couple
I'll-
people.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I guess we'll
Well,
move to Austin.
no, Jacob will get another spot. I haven't seen it, so you can try.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
You can try again.
I'll
You get,
go-
you, get,
I'll
you get
go.
at least one other one, but if you get another haven't seen it, we're gonna move on. So
Oh yeah.
maybe
yeah.
choose
Okay.
wisely. Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
did we go? Here.
Is there any other
I will
animal
go-
one?
Yeah.
The one that kicked it all off for Disney. I will go with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. A completely different movie from Fritz the Cat. I think we all know the
You
story.
mean she doesn't have an orgy with the Seven Dwarfs? I did see one of those movies
That's the
somewhere.
director's cut.
Yeah,
That
there's
was
one
the
out
live-
there.
there is
floating
one.
around.
There is one Pornhub version of the '70s floating around there, or the porn they did with Snow White.
There's
and
a live
Seven
action one, like midget porn.
Yeah.
It's out there.
Dwarfs. That exists.
But
I
anyway.
think we're all familiar with the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I think the animation is really good, for 1937. I think it's still, really beautiful to look at. I think the characters of the dwarves are a lot of fun. I think that scene where they're just like singing and playing music, and Snow White's just having a good time. I think that's like one of the most fun scenes I've seen in just any movie. Like I just have a good time watching that. That scene just makes me feel happy. And it's got a pretty decent villain in the evil queen. I think, it started it all off for Disney as far as full length motion pictures. So I still think it's really good. I think it's still one of Disney's best. So I think it deserves an S tier as well.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
I agree that it's great. It's not one of my personal favorites that I go back to a lot. I realize it's iconic for what it is. Some of the songs are very, they definitely work. The hi-ho thing is, very, the marching is iconic. It's great. And it's got a decent villain. I just remember being like, I didn't find the story as interesting. It's a very cliche story. It's like, it's like got a prince and a lady, and I just didn't find it as interesting as some of the other movies that I would watch over and over again, other than Snow White. I think the best use of Snow White is when the Gremlins are all watching it in the original Gremlins in the theater, and then singing along with it. And that's fun. So I'm still going to give it an A. I think it's very, very good. It's just because it's not one of my personal favorites, I can't quite go S. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen Snow White in theaters twice because they've replayed it. They had like an anniversary back in like the late 90s, and then they had one in like the I think like early 2010s, maybe something like that. But yeah, and the movie's really good. Yeah. If you go over to Chris Scott's and you scroll through his Facebook page, I just know that he's probably put hi ho off to work I go over 100 times. He's posted that. So yeah. So I think he's a big fan of this movie. But and yeah, I think that the music's great for its time. And it's got a great villain. And the Seven Dwarfs Minecart Madness at Disney World's like one of the best rides they have there.
Oh, yeah, the circle
So that one's
right,
fun.
Josh.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's this is fun, but for me, I would probably be along the lines of Austin. It's not one of my absolute favorites, but it's still an A. Like it's still solid, and they kind of use one of the tropes in a later movie where she falls asleep and it's true love's first kiss, and they do it in Sleeping Beauty too. So, but so yeah, let's go A tier. Malcolm.
Yeah, I like Snow White. Like, it's one of those ones that maybe if I'd gone back and sort of seen it, if I'd been alive back in the 20s when it first came out and I'd seen it, maybe I have a different opinion. But I didn't. I actually saw it for the first time a few years ago. Actually, there's a lot of the earlier Disney is actually a big blind spot for me. And yeah, I like it. Just don't love it as much. I respect for what it did, for how like it kind of started the whole Disney thing, but to me, it's an A movie. So A.
If you were alive in
Yeah.
the 30s when it came out, you look very good for your age.
Red Paul was.
Well, Brian.
Yeah, for me, I agree with the rest of you guys. When I did for a time, it was great for me at how iconic it was, but story wise, I'll give it A.
Yeah. And Richie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm sort of with the consensus here. I like it. I enjoy it. I was introduced to it by my parents. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I like the music, and yeah, the hi-ho sticks in your head like anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. But yeah, it's not something I go back to. But yeah, I do really like it, and I do recognize how important it is. So, but yeah, I'll go A.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys
So
are
there's probably
insane.
Yeah. Well, Austin, you're up now, so
Yeah.
I forgot for a moment. I was reading the chart.
and also too, I was gonna just pull up. We got Reefism. I can't remember who that is. I think it's someone maybe one of us knows, but he's a fan of The Hobbit. So yeah, but
yeah, I'm gonna go with an '80s one I did watch a lot, and it's really, really dark, but really good. But that was kind of the signature of Don Bluth in the '80s, and it's a movie produced by Steven Spielberg. I'm gonna go with An American Tail for S tier.
Yep.
Because god damn, is this movie gorgeous to look at and really inventive. It's really interesting just the way they kind of handle everything and the allegories. And it's really an immigrant tale about this kid and his family escaping basically like communist Russia and then getting over here, and it's like it's set during like the Industrial Revolution essentially, and it's very like just mechanical and kind of grimy, and like the way the cats are portrayed as these like horrifying people kind of like hunting them down, and just I like the way he interacts with all the larger objects. There's even simple things where he's like crawling through a record player, and a gramophone and things, getting stuck under trains and like the sparks. Like there's something about this movie that still works in that sort of grimy nature, and it's something that Don Bluth did in the '80s that really made his stuff stand out from the Disney stuff, to where he wasn't afraid to get a little darker and get a little more real with some of the themes. And I mean, I think the movie flies by, but it's really just it's unlike any other I think movie that kind of came out around that time, again with the themes it was dealing with and stuff. So I think it's a really groundbreaking kind of movie. And yeah, they went much lighter with stuff like Five Goes West a few years later, in keeping with the times of the '90s. But I think this one's still unique in that way of how kind of dark and grimy it is. But I really like it. So I'm gonna go S tier for An American Tail.
I think American Tail's great. Yeah, I really like this movie a lot. I don't know who told them there's no cats in America, but they were sorely misinformed.
Yes.
There are cats everywhere in America, but
Probably the Germans.
yeah, but they lie. Yeah, but
The fake news media.
yeah, but it's got really good music. Like Somewhere Out There, it's got to be like one of the best like songs from an animated movie. Like it's really good. Like it's probably one that I'm due for a rewatch, because I've watched Five Goes West way more than this one, but I've seen it 2 or 3 times, and yeah, I think that it's good. I'm gonna say S tier. I don't know if it'll be high on the S for me, but I'll give it like a low S probably. Yeah. Malcolm.
I think this one's also for on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, An American Tail is another one that I watched a lot growing up. And yeah, I mean, and I believe that they were told by Vladimir Putin. I don't know if he was alive in this time frame that there was no cats in America.
Yeah, it was him.
But I mean, it's just one of those stories that's just
It was Baryshnikov that said
yeah.
it, or like one of those guys Dennis Miller always brings up, one of those Vladimir whatever guys.
Yeah, and he did he spent more than a Barishnikov on the backpack.
Yeah.
We don't get it.
But yeah,
like, okay, no one knows that reference.
But yeah, I just really love An American Tail. I do think it's good. I don't. Funny enough, I think I've seen the first one more than I've seen Bible Goes West. But yeah, this is easy and ease for me. So yeah.
Yeah,
I think your dog prefers Bible Goes West.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do have a main character as a dog.
That's a
or like
dog in Bible Goes West. Yeah. He was the Jimmy Stewart sheriff dog character.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, Brian, what do you think of American Tail?
Yeah, for me, I enjoy Bible West more than American Tail as well, but I quite enjoyed the first American Tail a lot. Great emotional aspects, some good humor, Dom DeLuise, great performance as Tiger the Cat, and I'll give it an S tier.
Yeah, sounds good. Richie, what do you think?
Dom DeLuise doesn't get enough credit for being a great voiceover. Like this is like sort of.
He was in a lot of animated movies in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, because it was around the period of time where like the voiceovers weren't known for like they weren't known for the big name big name actors doing it, but Dom DeLuise would do at least things, and it was really good.
Yeah,
this movie is really really good. I probably would have bought it at some point. It wasn't brought up, so I probably am in the camp of Five Guys is a bit better for me, but this is still really good. So I would go as.
Yeah, Jacob, what do you think?
I just have to come to terms with the fact that the movies I want in the S tier aren't going to make it in the S tier because I am like the complete opposite. Other than The Little Mermaid, which was a consensus, I am on the opposite side of the fence on all these because while I enjoy this movie and I think the story is really good, the voice acting is really good, the music is really good. It's not one that I've gone back to as much, and in comparison to some of the other movies that are on this list. So I have it at an A, but I still I really enjoy it. Like I said earlier, I don't think there's a bad movie in the bunch. I think there's a couple that are but not that's a bad movie. So we're dealing with a really, really strong list of movies. And I made my list in my head earlier, and this one slid into the A tier. It was a high A tier because I do think it's really good, but it's not quite on that S level for me.
Yeah.
Dom DeLuise was in pretty much all the American Tail stuff that come out, even like the direct-to-video stuff in the TV show. He was in the All Dogs Go to Heaven movies. He was in Oliver and Company. He was in the Two Secret of Nim movies. He's in a couple. He's in the Hercules animated series. He's in the All Dogs Go to Heaven animated series. He's in the Wild Thornberries. He's in it's all.
He was Pizza the Hut and Spaceballs.
Yeah, Pizza the Hut and Spaceballs, and even Pizza the Hut. And even Pizza the Hut on the one or two episodes he showed up on the animated show that they did of Spaceballs before he passed away. Yeah.
One thing I didn't realize is he randomly voiced a character in Stargate SG-1 as well.
Yeah. Well, he kind of like the John Ratzenberger for Pixar. He's just in everything. It's like
Don
that.
Bluth. Yeah, he's a Don Bluth guy for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, what do you got?
So I'm just gonna go with the obvious one, the one that I watched for the first time, and it was freaking awesome. I got to go with Transformers, the movie, S tier all the way. This movie rules. I don't know why I waited so long to watch it, because people have been telling me that this movie is awesome for years. And this thing's like one big, giant music video. It's like they they like start off with a bang with like really cool music. They got the Transformers song by Lion. It's like a banger version of it. And then like You Got the Touch, they got that in there too. And then like I was like the kind of like had a little kind of freak out kind of like mini one when they started playing Weird Al, Dare to Be Stupid in there. I was like, oh, they got Weird Al in here. That's freaking awesome. And like and yeah, like there's like really high stakes. Like you see like their entire planet being destroyed, moons being destroyed. You see the death of like multiple characters in this, and it's just they're really emotional, and it's just nonstop action from beginning to end. This thing is just like I forgot how freaking good that the old school Transformers series was. It makes me want to go back and like rewatch the whole series. Like it, because I've seen most of the original series. I grew up watching it, but yeah, like this is just so good, and like even have some fun humor and yeah. You even have the Micro Machines guy voicing like the like I forget what his Blur character, where he's like, we gotta find the Autobots, we gotta find the Decepticons, we gotta get in the ship, we gotta go. It's like hey, that's the Micro Machines guy. But yeah, so I'm gonna say S tier for Transformers the movie. So Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Transformers the movie before we were doing the ranking on animated films of the 80s. I mean, I thought it was decent. Like, it's I never grew up with the animated Transformers movies at all. Like, and this it was my first time watching it, but it's just one of those ones like I don't mind when movies are non-stop action, but it's just this one just didn't work too much for me because I just thought it needed some kind of levity in there as well. But it's still a good movie. I'm still going to give it an A though.
Yeah, because it kind of pairs well with the original series because you kind of get to know all the characters from the series. So they figure, oh, well, everybody knows these characters. We're just gonna go balls to the walls action the whole time, not really like develop the characters as much. So yeah, but Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I haven't grown up with the series as well. I saw like a couple a long time ago. It was okay, not an S level film. I'll give it a B.
B. All right. Well, Richie.
No, I'd give this an S. I think it's great. Yeah, people often forget about this like Transformers movie when they talk about best Transformers movies, but yeah, it's great. It's a great, yeah, like you said, it's a great music video. Yeah, like I'm glad I was on that episode of ranking with you know the '80s animation. And almost didn't get got brought up right at the end. I'm like, oh yeah, we should have brought it up way earlier. But yeah. But I'm glad it made the list. And it's gonna, yeah, I'll say S tier. Yeah, it's a great movie, and yeah, great voice acting as well. So yeah.
I'll say it's easily better than any live action movie we've ever had. So
yeah,
but Jacob, what do you think?
I don't know. I might, put this on par with that first Transformers and Bumblebee. I think those ones are pretty good. But this one, yeah, it's really good. Yeah, voice cast extremely solid. It's one of the final roles of Orson Welles, which is really cool.
Oh yeah.
I still think it's hilarious that the same voice of Optimus Prime is also the voice of a suicidal donkey in Eeyore. I think that's just one of the coolest things.
And Peter Cullen also does the Predator noises from Predator.
Yeah,
he's that guy.
Dude's talented. Dude is really talented. He did such a good job that they brought him back for the live action movies.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this at an A. Like I did. Again, if we were.
Yeah, we know it's no Fritz the Cat animal orgies, but it's
right. Yeah, it's not that. Yeah,
it's not. It's much more action packed than the orgy.
If they put Transformers orgies in this, it'll be an S for me.
Yeah, right.
Oh god.
Yeah, well,
they missed their chance.
Well, and they have Leonard Nimoy voicing the Sentinel Prime, and then he comes back for the live action doing the same character basically. So I thought that was cool. But Austin, what do you think?
So yeah, I had 2 new watches for this movie, Transformers the movie, which I had just never seen. Oddly enough, I've owned the 4K Steelbook for quite some time. I just was waiting for the right opportunity, and this movie fucking rules. S tier.
Yeah.
This movie's fucking great. It's
awesome.
excellent. I was transported right back to my days of watching this shit back in, like, as a kid, like watching these 80s shows in syndication like this and G.I. Joe, and like you have to put yourself in that. Yeah, well, I mean, if you put on the Blu-ray or the 4K, they just play that song on a loop on the main menu, so it's great.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
So it's perfect. But yeah, it was action right from the start. The Unicron stuff was great. We just immediately start sucking up planets, and you're like, holy shit! Like we're just jumping right into it. It's awesome.
You're jumping right in. Yeah.
And I was like, this score sounds really familiar. Why does this score sound like the score for Rocky IV? Well, it makes sense because Vince DiCola, who scored Rocky IV, scored this movie, and it's very, very similar.
Yeah.
But in that great 80s way, there's like all the kind of hair metal stuff is good. All those like kind of corny 80s songs, but they totally work for the vibe of the movie. And it flies by. I thought this movie fucking rocked, so I'm gonna give it an S. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone's played they have a Transformers mobile game that you can get for Android and Apple phones, and it has all the music plus even more of like the really cool hair metal band and music, and it's actually a lot of fun. But I couldn't keep it on my phone because it took up way too much hard drive space on my phone. But yeah.
All right. Well, it's got literally the exact same votes as the Brave Little Toaster, 3-2-1. So so it'll hang for now, but we'll see what happens with the rest of the show. All right. So back down to Malcolm, I believe, right? So let's go down.
I'm going back for another one that I watched a lot as a kid. And this is one that I watched a lot, partly with my little brother, because we could end up reciting the whole movie sort of line by line. It's been ages since I handled it, but it's the Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And it's just one of those ones, like, there's something about Winnie the Pooh that's just charming. And it's just one of those ones, like, it's part of the reason why I like Chris Robin as much, because it brought back my love of that beer to my heart. So and it's just, I mean, while it's technically 3 short films are spliced together, it still really works as a feature-length movie too. Like, think of it as an animated anthology movie, but it's just great. Like, just seeing Winnie the Pooh when he's doing his exercise, like up, down, up, just a lot of fun. So Winnie the Pooh is an S easily.
Yeah. Well, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to give it S tier as well. Another one that I loved watching. It's a great breeze. This goes by so fast. You don't realize how short it was. Also love the music by the Shore Brothers, like the Winnie the Pooh song. I'm just a little black rain cloud. So yeah, I quite enjoy it a lot. I'll actually give it A tier.
Yeah. Richie, what do you think?
I liked this movie as a kid. It wasn't like something that I revisited a lot. So and like I just think the other ones are also more memorable. So I'd probably give it like a high B.
Yeah, that's fair. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't grow up with Winnie the Pooh, so this is actually one that I came to as an adult, and it's fine. Yeah, it's a good 3 short animated shorts. They weave together to make a movie, and I can see why fans of Winnie the Pooh would love it. But for me, I'm not a Winnie the Pooh fan. Like, it's not something I grew up with. But I still I can see that it is a good movie. So I'm kind of agreeing with Richie here. It's like a high B.
Yeah. And Austin, what do you think?
It's really strange. This is one that I was scrolling through Disney Plus, I want to say like 2 or 3 months ago, and I remember coming across this and just going, "Oh my god, I haven't seen that movie since I was like 6." I was like, and I remember renting it a couple of times as a kid and enjoying it when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And so I put it on, and I was like, "Okay, I remember this scene." Like it was kind of starting to come back to me, and then, like you said, and then it like jumps to another story, and it's like an anthology thing, and I was like, "Oh, I don't remember that at all." and because it doesn't really have like a main narrative. It's like just a couple of short films. I wasn't as enthralled with it. I thought it was okay. I'm not a giant Winnie the Pooh fan either. Like I think he's definitely a character more suited for like really little kids than one I would go back to as an adult. So I'm gonna also give it a high B because I do think it's entertaining. If my niece wanted to put this on, this movie in particular, I'd be totally fine with it. Like it's all right. It's non-offensive. It's easy to go down. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a B.
Yeah, and trying to remember, like, if I've seen this entire movie, because I remember that I had these different VHS compilations that had like different segments, but like they weren't all together as one movie. So I remember all the different segments. So I had the little black rain cloud one, right, where he tries to go to the like beehive, right? He does that one, right, with the balloon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Does it have the very blustery day? Does it have that one on it?
Yes. With Heffalumps and
Okay.
Woozles, yes.
Yeah. Does it have the like Heffalump and Woozle song
Yep.
on it? Is it that one? Okay. So yeah, I have seen most of it. Does it have the one where he gets stuck in the like rabbit's hole and he's like trying to get the like honey?
Safe
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I have seen it. So yeah, but I just watched them like all split up into like different VHSs. So yeah, I remember watching this and having fun as a pretty young kid, and then rewatching it because there are 5 kids in my family and I'm the oldest, so all my younger siblings watched it, and so I mean that's fine. I mean I think that like I like the character as far as like if I go to Disney, like I think it's cool seeing the character. I don't really go back to the movie as much, so probably I'll give it a B. I think.
So SA 4Bs probably gonna be a high B there, Jacob.
Yeah.
For Winnie the Pooh. As a grown man, I'm more of a Winnie the Pooh blood and honey guy now.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot. So
Yeah.
Are you gonna get that on 4K on Blu-ray?
Oh,
I think it's
100%. Oh, dude. And
Yeah.
are you kidding me? And then when he finally puts out a couple more and then they put together like the cinematic universe box set, I'll be all over that shit. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm in, man, for anything that guy wants to do, I'm in. So all right. Yeah, we'll go to Brian, I believe, right? So let's
Yeah,
go.
Brian.
I'm going to go with one that made my 138, one I loved watching a long child. That is Alice in Wonderland for S tier.
All right.
Yep, I love the zany aspect of it. You get the Mad Hatter, you get the whole Queen of Hearts segment, the Treasure Cat, some trippy, so a lot of whole drug use in the film, like the whole like cocaine scene, like mushrooms. But the animation is great. The whole March of the Cards segment and all the songs are great. Like the Caucus Race, How You Do Shake Hands, Very Very On Birthday. So yeah, I'm going to give it S tier for Alice Wonderland.
Yeah. Sounds good. Richie, what do you think?
I wasn't as into Alice in Wonderland as other people. I appreciate the animation, and I think maybe as a kid, maybe it freaked me out a bit, like especially like the Mad Hatter or something, and I just maybe wasn't as engaged with the overall story. But like I appreciate people who like it, but I'd probably give it. It's not something to go back to. I'd probably give it like a B. With Woody the Pooh. So yeah, that's just where I appreciate that. I might be in the minority there, but yeah, I'll go B.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, what do you think?
No, that's kind of where I'm at too, Richie. I enjoy it, but it's not one that I'm going back to very often. I think it's fun. I think the music is really good, but it's just it's not something that I've gone back to quite as often. I think I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times actually. So I'm kind of at a B as well.
Yeah. Well, Austin. What do you say?
I'll go A just because I appreciate the kind of twisted aspect to it, and I like the fact that this movie is an acid trip from beginning to end. It's pretty fun. There's just a lot of hallucinatory type qualities to it, and yeah, I think it works really well actually as an adult. If you go back and watch this, I think you can appreciate how much work they put into some of this art in the movie, and I still think it's probably the best version we've ever gotten because I am not a fan of those Tim Burton movies. I'm not into that. Again, this is another one where I think it works great as animated because you can have like the Cheshire Cat's eyes, like flashing crazy, yell, like you could do have these people that just don't like look like they could aesthetically walk around like the Queen of Hearts, like there's a twisted aspect to this that you can't do in real life because again you need that animation to where they can contort their bodies and they can move a certain way. It was my same argument with the Lion King remake that they did, where it's like you need that animation to where they can climb and make pyramids and hop all over the place. Like you need that, and you can't do it in the live action form. It just doesn't work as well. But yeah, I appreciate this movie for what it is, and I think it actually works well in a rewatch. And 75 minutes, Jacob. What a movie! What a movie!
That is a big
Man,
thing. With these.
I that's one of the reasons I don't mind going back and watching these old Disney movies, man. Like especially all these ones from like pre-70s and stuff, man. They're all like 75, 80 minutes. They're great. They're so good.
Even the 90s, I don't think
Dumbo is like 63 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
It's a
that one's short. Yeah.
Even in the 90s, I don't think anything goes past like 95 minutes.
Yeah, but like even I was watching this like this family movie like yesterday. It was like it's called Slumberland. It's a Netflix original. It's got like Jason Momoa and thing in it, and it's like it's supposed to be like for kids. It's like 2 hours. I'm like shave half an hour off that. Anyway,
there's a reason we could watch these movies over and over again as kids because they didn't take up much of our time, and you have the short attention span. So these movies are 70 minutes. They fly by, and then you move on to something else. That's the reason why we can put them on over and over. I think we've lost that aspect to even these family movies. Like you have to remember the kids have short attention spans. They want to go to the theater and sit in there for 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? Like get in and get out. Little Mermaid's 82 minutes. It's perfect. It's so perfect. Yeah, get back to that.
Yeah. And speaking of the Slumberland, there's actually it's based on a movie that actually could have made this tier list. I didn't advocate for it because I doubt really very many people have seen it. But there's a movie called Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, and it's kind of like anime stuff.
Yeah, I have heard of that. Yeah, I didn't even
I mean, yeah. It's really good. It's on.
It's really good. Yeah, I used to watch it all the time as a kid. So yeah, but yeah, for Alice in Wonderland, I do really like it. For me, I actually gravitate towards one of the live action Alice in Wonderlands, but it was a TV one. There's one that they did. In the late '90s, had Tina Majorino, who played Deb from Napoleon Dynamite. She was Alice. It had Martin Short as the Mad Hatter, and then Ben Kingsley as the Caterpillar. Whoopi Goldberg was the Cheshire Cat. So, like, I actually kind of like that one as far as live action ones. I'll think that.
Oh my god, that movie's 2.5 hours. That's the opposite of what I'm talking about. What are you doing? Well, that's like stretched out.
It's 2 hours and 9 minutes. What I'm seeing here, but I think maybe they might have even split it up. It may have been like a 2-part series for TV.
It was a 2-part TV movie.
Yeah. So, but for the animated one, I think it's fun. I think they do some really kind of some things where you're like on an acid trip and some really cool things like colors and like the like aspect ratio and size and different things. So I'll give it an S, but it'll be a low though. It's a low S. It's not going to make the top, but I'll say S. Sure.
All right, Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm.
Yeah. I mean, just like what I said with Snow White, like when it comes to the original animated ones, like I came to those really late. Like I saw Alice in Wonderland for the first time a few years ago, and I enjoyed it enough. Like I'm one of the ones that I actually really did like the first Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie. I mean the second one is not as good, but I still kind of enjoy it. But that being said, So for me, Alice in Wonderland is going to be a B.
Yeah. So where are we at? No.
With that B, it'll probably be a low A, because it's two S's, A, and three B's. So maybe
Yeah.
mid to low
Makes
A,
sense.
something like that, or well, about mid A, because still one more
Yeah.
S vote than Snow White. So we may have to see if that one makes an honorable mention or not. We'll see.
Yeah, but Snow White had
Yeah.
all A's, didn't it?
No, it was
all-
one S and five A. So again,
Yeah.
it split the difference because there was two S's, instead of one. So yeah, they're about even right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it'll be Richie up next. So what do you
Yeah.
want?
I might have to go in about 15, but I might come back depending on how long this quiz thing goes for. But
Sure.
yeah, so I'll get the thing out of the way that might be a bit divisive, given who's on the bench. So I'll just get it out of the way. I'm gonna do Miyazaki, and I'm gonna do My Neighbor Totoro. I think that's it.
Okay.
And it says I love this movie a lot. I come to a lot of Miyazaki movies late. But yeah, I just love I love the animation. I love the kind of the exploration into like a child's imagination and how and the way it's used to kind of sort of process sort of grief and how that with what the girl's going through. Yeah, I just think I love the world that's set up here and like the character design. I love everything about it, and it sort of blew me away. So I know Austin and Jordan aren't like the big Studio Ghibli guys, but I'm shoot my shot. Here we go. My name is Totoro.
Yeah, sure. Jacob, what do you think?
Finally, another one that I can agree with somebody on for S tier, because I absolutely love this movie. Austin mentioned The Little Mermaid would probably be his number one. This is my number one. I love this movie. Everything Richie said, absolutely. I think the animation when it comes to these Studio Ghibli movies is just top notch. Like animation alone, like if we were just talking like how beautiful these movies are. Totoro gets into the S tier. Totoro is such a cool character. Like it's kind of the mascot now for Studio Ghibli. I adore this movie. I have watched this movie I don't know how many times. There was a kid I was babysitting. I worked at this camp. I did janitorial work in the evening, babysat during the day, and I brought this movie over one time for him to watch, and he was only like 3 or 4 at the time. So I was like, it was more for me than anything. I was like, I'm gonna watch this today. He loved it, and now anytime and every day when I came back, he would ask me, Totoro? I was like, sure, let's put it on. So I probably watched this that year for like 2 times a week, and I did not get tired of it. I adore this movie, so this one is an easy S tier for me.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
So here's my conundrum, Richie. So this and Grave of the Fireflies I watched very, very recently for my battleground match with Jay Burns, because he picked Studio Ghibli. He picked Grave of the Fireflies, and having not seen anything, I just picked My Neighbor Totoro. So I argued hard for this movie. I understand the significance. The animation is very good. There's a level of detail in there that's excellent. There's like trash even at the bottom of these waterfalls and things, like little details that work very well. I just think this movie's for like 6-year-olds. Like I didn't find it like super compelling. There wasn't really anything kind of I can latch onto it as an adult. So I get it if you watch it as a kid and you like it. I still think it's a quality movie, so I'll be generous and give it a B. I'll be generous for this one, because I didn't hate the experience. Like it was all right when I watched it. It was okay, but these movies are still not really for me. They just aren't. I'm not into them. So
yeah, in kind of the same way. Like I'm not really into these animated movies. I haven't seen it, so I can't even rank it. But like for some reason, like so many of my friends though are really into anime, so it's like I end up seeing some of them, and this is one I haven't gotten to yet, but I've seen a decent amount just because they want to watch them, and people say that whenever Totoro is one of the best. A lot of them say that's their favorite Studio Ghibli movie. So, but so I'll probably never watch it on my own unless I have to do it for like one of these shows, or if a friend of mine says, "Hey, you want to watch that?" I'm always willing to like watch whatever people want to watch. I don't care. So yeah, I can't really rank it though. So we'll go to Malcolm.
Your mic is off.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, this is a conundrum for me because My Neighbor Totoro isn't my favorite of the Ghibli movies, but I do think it's a good movie. But that being said, based on what Austin and Jordan have said, it's also one of those ones like I'm not too sure if any of the other ones are going to work for if they come up. And yeah, but I mean the good thing is like most of the Ghibli movies are actually like 1.5 hours, like they're not long.
Unless you're Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away or some shit like that.
Yeah, there's a couple long.
Those
There's,
movies.
there's a couple exceptions, yes.
I mean that's why I said most of them. But
Yeah.
so just because I think we should have at least one Ghibli movie in the S tier, I'm gonna go S.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I agree with Malcolm. If we're going to Studio Ghibli film, I think My Neighbor Totoro should be the one in the S tier. But I'm not really a big anime person. I see it once. It was good, though. I'll give it S tier.
Yeah. So what are the votes?
4 S's and a B. So, all right, it's right behind Pinocchio. Yeah, and so, all right.
Yeah, and then if you got to bump off Richie, that's fine. And
Yeah, I'll probably come back. Like if it doesn't take too long. So yeah.
Well, maybe you can be back in time for the Hail Mary round and help for the wrap up because you got about 40 or 45 minutes till we get there, so maybe you'll have time. So
yeah.
All right.
All right. I'll catch that.
All right. Okay.
I think it's a regular thing. If Richie's going to be on a Tuesday match, he'll bump off for trivia. But Jacob, what do you want to go for?
I'm going with the Jungle Book. I love this movie. I think this is just a ton of fun. I think these characters are all really great. I think the music is good. I've gone back to this I don't know how many times, and I enjoy it every single time. So I think this one is an S tier for me, and I'm curious because I've heard a lot of people, I don't know, like doing their rankings, and this is like, in the bottom half, this is in the top half, this is in like the top 15. Like this is people are all over the place with this. I just happen to be, as far as like overall Disney goes, this is in my top 10, and I think, for this era that we're talking about, I think it's also S tier. I love this movie. I think it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
Well, yeah, here's the thing, Jacob. See, I think a lot of people have, those 90s movies higher, but again, we're not talking about the 90s movies tonight. We're talking about 89 earlier. And if we're narrowing it down to that and some of the Disney offerings, I probably would have this in my top 5 of that era, you know what I mean? Or of the selection here, you know what I mean? So, yeah, this is one of the ones I really enjoy. It still might be overall my favorite version of the Jungle Book. Because, yeah, I've seen the Favreau one, twice. Like, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I kind of like that Robin Shou one, the guy with the Mortal Kombat.
I like that one too.
I think that one's pretty good. As far as it's probably one of the better, actual live action ones. But yeah, I mean, as far as just for efficiency and like likable characters and again songs and things in the animation, that kind of old school cool animation of the 60s of this one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'd be like a high S tier, but I'll give it an S tier for this one. Yeah, so I might have it like in 8 to 10 range, something like that, but I'd still go S tier.
Yeah. So I'm actually a big fan of the Jungle Book. I actually really like the Jungle Book. This might be one of the VHS that I wore out as a kid. Like I watched this thing over and over. I think that it's a lot of fun. I like the scene with like the vultures where they're like, now don't start that again. Like, what do you want to do today? I don't know, whatever you want to do today. Like that's a lot of fun. They're like kind of like the Beatles, kind of, and I like that. And they got the
I think
same little haircut and
they're
stuff.
like similar to it. That's what they're going
Mhm.
for.
Yeah. So that's fun. Like the elephants never forget, and like when they're like marching around. When I was a really little kid, I would be like marching around like the elephants and stuff, and and then the like I want to be like you is great. The 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 bare necessities. I mean, yeah, I think that there's a lot of fun, and fun fact that this was the final Disney movie that was produced by Walt Disney himself. He died during the production of the
Correct.
Jungle Book. So yeah. So yeah, this movie's great. Like even if we're ranking like things from like the '90s, even like I'd still rank it maybe an S tier, even with those. So I'll say S tier. Yeah, it's great. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah. It's funny. I've probably gone back to the remake of the John Favreau remake of the Jungle Book more than I've actually seen the animated one. Because I do think the animated one's good. But it's definitely middle of the road, like Disney for me, like in general. But in the case of this, I will give it an A tier though.
Yeah, sounds good. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, overall Disney it's like middle tier for me, but for this era we're talking about, I'll give it like an S tier. Had a lot of fun with it. Phil Harris great as Baloo. Louis Prima, great performance as Kid Louis on the song. Bare Necessities, Want to Be Like You. That's your friends are for. So yeah, I'll give it S tier.
Yeah. Like somebody made so it's out there on YouTube. Someone made a mashup of the bare necessities with It's Like a Jungle by Grandmaster Flash. If you can ever find that, that's like really cool the way that they like mixed them. It's like a cool mashup. But yeah.
All right. Well, Forest is an A, so it'll be up in there.
Yeah. So Austin, you're up.
Okay, so I guess I'll talk about the other one I watched literally, and because we went a little later, I was able to finish it. I didn't think I was going to be able to finish it because of the runtime, but we started a little later, and I was able to get to the end. I watched Akira, Jacob, on Hulu.
Nice.
So
That was the other one I watched.
So glad you watched this one.
Now,
Oh my
normally, I'm not a really big Japanese anime guy. Jacob knows this. It's not really my thing, Ghibli or just kind of wacky Japanese anime. This movie fucking ruled. This movie was awesome. This movie was bonkers. It was crazy. It was well, and here's the reason I kind of dug it, because it's like the first half is kind of like a Mad Max Warriors kind of thing, where it's like this sort of half, not like a wasteland Japan, but like, because they still got tech and stuff, but it's like there's areas where, it's very grimy. There's these gangs that form. They're all fighting each other. It's violent. It's bloody. They get into wars. And then like, there's these weird sci-fi experimentations where Tetsuo turns into like a big blob monster at the end after he goes on a bright burn type rampage, blowing up buildings and destroying bridges and, becoming like acting like a superhero thing. And then, he turns into a crazy, Japanese anime monster at the end of it. And it's, but it's got cool tech. It's got great animation. Like it looked great on my TV. I'm probably going to pick up, there's a 4K out there now, Jacob. I'll probably pick it up and watch it again. Or at least the Blu-ray, something like that. But yeah, like again, I can't put it higher than these ones I grew up with, Jacob. I'll say that because I just watched it. You know what I mean? It's in the same vein as like Transformers. But goddamn, this movie was fucking fun, and so I'll watch it again. So I'll go S tier. Again, it'll be like a low S tier, just because I can't put it above like Little Mermaid and
right.
Stuff like that I've lived with for years and years and years.
Over a movie you finished 2 hours ago.
Right, a movie I finished just a few hours ago, literally. But goddamn, this movie was bonkers, man. And but again, it had that. It hit my buttons of like Mad Maxy, dystopian, some crazy sci-fi. Like it kind of hit those buttons. So I'm not into a lot of anime because it gets wonky and weird, and and just a lot of the recent stuff is more like the animation is more cartoony and like over the top with the face. This was a little more grounded. a little bit, so I thought of it more like I can see why they want to do a live action because there's a way you can do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But there's a
Totally
way you
need
could
to.
do it if they wanted. I know they've been trying to get that off the ground for like 20 years, but it's just never happened. But yeah, I'll go like a low S for Akira. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did the same thing. Like this was the movie that I watched right
Yeah.
right before we went live, and
Well,
yeah, this
Jacob
was
said he's like, I'm probably gonna bring up Akira. So if you're gonna watch anything, watch Akira.
Yeah.
And I was and you know, and I hadn't seen Transformers, so I knew that'd come up. So I wanted to like hit at least a few of those that I figured would come up. So I'm glad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is effing awesome. This movie is so good. Like wow, like did it blow me away? Like, and there's also another one that had great music to go along with it,
Mhm.
and I love the like the kind of set after like a World War III, and then they're like what happens after that. Like it kind of starts out, you kind of see like a big like you see a nuclear bomb going off, and then you kind of see the fallout. Not everything's destroyed necessarily, but like yeah, like sort of like Austin said, that's just dirty and grimy, and yeah, there's great action scenes in this, and like it gets bloody, it gets violent. Like they're not afraid to like they're
It's
like
an
dropping.
R rated, and they earn their
Oh yeah,
R
they're dropping
rating.
F bombs and they're saying
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah, like that's great, and yeah, I had a lot of fun. Probably like my I'll probably give it some time to sit because there's another one on here that's actually one of my favorite animes I've ever seen. I'm not into too many, but there's a couple that like hit the right chord for me, and this one definitely did. So yeah, they're probably one that like maybe in like 6 months to a year I'll watch it again and see where it ranks overall. So yeah, but for right now, for today, yeah, like it's definitely an S tier, and actually it might be a high S tier just compared to what we have here. So yeah, I'll say S tier. It's great.
All right.
Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, this is where we end up in a weird multiverse because both Jordan and Austin really love an anime that I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of. Look, back when we did 80s animated, I still hadn't seen this. Then we did based on a comic book movie. I still hadn't seen it then. I watched it a little bit after that because I actually found it at the library. Look, I'll give it this. Like the music and visuals and that is good. Like I just didn't fully understand the story. I thought it was interesting, but honestly, I'm probably gonna have to give it a C.
What? Come on, dude. I like this movie and you weren't even into it. Come on now.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. This movie is groundbreaking, dude, when you look into the history of it too. This movie changed a lot of shit, especially for anime.
The most important animes ever made. So,
ever made, yeah. But
yeah, but one can see how the story gets a little confusing. Kind of, they had some biker gangs and they got like a monster at the end. They got some interesting stuff, but I mean, still, like it's good. But Brian, what do you think?
For me, I'm not the biggest anime person, but I saw this for the first time a couple weeks ago. Kind of know upon me on the list, and I was quite surprised with how well I liked it. The animation was great, and I agree. The visuals were perfection, so S tier.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, what do you think?
2 takeaways so far from tonight's episode. One, I have sold at least 2 people on a movie featuring animal orgies and a cat foursome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Austin, Jordan, and myself are agreeing on an anime movie being in the S tier.
Yeah.
Because I think this movie is awesome. I just watched it for the first time for the 80s ranking as well. And this is a 128 contender. I loved it. I think this movie rules. I think it's bloody, it's brutal, it's awesome. So I will also give it an S vote.
Okay. So 4 S's and a C. It'll still make the S tier. It'll probably be Jacob right behind Jungle Book, Little Head of Brave Little Toaster, and Transformers for the moment.
Makes sense.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see where it ends up ranking overall, but yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, so I nominated the anime. Go figure.
You're going to nominate the other one, Jordan? Should I just go ahead and bring it up?
Well, I mean,
I honestly don't know what the other one is. I don't know the list, but
I can bring it up because because I was going to bring up Akira, and Austin, I took my pick for that one. So yeah, I'll bring up the other one. I'm going to go with Grave of the Fireflies. Let's go
Oh,
with that.
okay, yeah. Oh, the other
Yeah, yeah,
Ghibli movie. Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
This movie was awesome. This movie was like so powerful, in like very emotional. Like I definitely cried watching this, and yeah, it's just the story of uh, a teenage boy taking care of his younger sister while during World War II, where they're separated from their parents, and then everything around them just being bombed. And they're just trying to find their their family. They're just trying to survive. And yeah, like it's like, I mean, it makes me think like what it must have been like during that time in Japan when they got a fucking nuke dropped on their country and they're just trying to survive. That must have been like hell on earth, chaos. Just like, yeah, like I can't even imagine that. And yeah, they really portray it really well. And yeah, this is one that actually go back to. I don't go back to a lot of animes, but Grave with the Fireflies. I like it because it's more grounded. It's not some floating thing in the sky. It's not like some kind of tentacle monster. It's not kind of like some kind of weird like fantasy creature or anything. It's just like a grounded, just like more like true to life story, and it's great. So yeah, I'm gonna say S tier for Grave of the Fireflies.
All right. Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one that I watched for the first time when we did 80s rankum. When I the version I found, look, because I'm one of those ones that when it comes to anime, I prefer them with these the dubs as opposed to subtitles, because I get very distracted in watching movies, and so I'm not always pay attention to the subtitles.
Do
Um,
that sometimes. Yeah.
but yeah, the version I found of this online, it it was the foreign language one, but it didn't even have subtitles. So I was watching this trying to understand what they're saying. It was like, so maybe if I ever find a proper version on DVD or whatnot, because this is one of the weird Ghiblis that they haven't put on the either Netflix, HBO Max, depending on what part of the world you're in, where they've put the Ghibli movies. But I will say the visuals in there are good, and I don't think it's that overly bad. But it's still going to be a B for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Brian, what do you think?
I'll put a mock up. I haven't seen it.
Okay, that's fair. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I've said this before, and but I think Grave of the Fireflies is like the animated equivalent of Schindler's List, in
It
that
is. Yeah.
it's a hard movie to watch, but man, is it good. I agree with S tier. I think yeah, it's a hard movie to watch, but it's so good. It's heartbreaking. And yeah, the story, the visuals, it all works so well. I don't go back to it as often, but it's like I have Schindler's List in my top 20 movies of all time, because I can appreciate the filmmaking, the performances, and I can do that with this one as well. So I'll give this an S tier.
Yeah, for some reason, I really like going back to Grave with the Fireflies, even though it's so hard to watch. But I can't go back to Schindler's List as much. That one, because it's a live action. But Austin, what do you think?
I'm torn. Because yeah, I watched it for that battleground match. I think it's visually interesting because it's very washed out, like a sort of World War II movie would be. There's also like a constant sort of smoke in the air. It feels like there's always like fires going on. There's a smoky quality to it. So I do think it's interesting in that aspect. I wasn't as emotionally turned as everybody else seems to be. I don't know what it was. I didn't get as emotionally heavy into this movie as everybody else did. Like because everybody, when I went into it, was like, oh, it's like Schindler's List for, whatever. It'll make you cry. It didn't make me cry.
When the little sister dies, come on. You gotta.
No, it's just, it didn't click with me as hard as I was trying to understand why everybody gets as invested. Maybe I have it on Blu-ray now, so maybe I'll go back to it in a couple of years, watch it again. For now, it's like a B minus, because I get it. I get it, but it didn't hit for me as much as everybody else did. So it just is what it is. So sorry, but this one doesn't work. It didn't work as well. Honestly,
That's all right.
I kind of like out of the two I watched, kind of like Totoro better. So,
Really? What?
Yeah,
Totoro better.
yeah. Honestly,
Well, I've never seen it, so I can't. Really
I was more engaged, at least with. I was more engaged with the two the siblings in Totoro a little more than like the characters and.
I saw like there's a cat bus and some other things. I'm like, that's a little like not in my wheelhouse. So that's why I just.
It's not either. I'm just saying. Overall, if I went back to one, might go back to Totoro before I go back to Raven Fireflies. It's weird. I don't know, but over that I go to Akira way back. But then one of those.
Same here.
So yeah,
I go to. But what were the votes for that one?
It was 2 S's, 2 B's, so it's right in the middle of an A. So we'll see where it ends up overall. So
no F, C, D's or F's yet.
Well,
I'm not surprised either.
Yeah, well, if there is a bad one, it's probably something I haven't seen on the list. So who knows?
Probably.
I know I'm gonna rewatch one or two really bad ones. When we get to 90s, I want to watch like a really bad one just so we can put something in F tier. When we get that list. Jacob and I, we won't spoil it here, but Jacob and I have agreed to watch one that we know is going to be an F tier
when we get there.
From the 2000s. We've agreed to watch one from the 2000s that we both are anticipating is going to be one of the worst movies ever.
I guess it'll be Hoodwinked.
No, not Hoodwinked. No, it's worse.
They're like Google or something.
No,
Hoodwinked was the top 12 of the 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, you guys might be able to guess once once we make the group and he posts the list for the 2000s, you might be able to guess from the list. We'll see. But Jacob and I have already decided privately what we're going to watch. So for the bad one. Yeah.
All right. Well, back to Malcolm again.
Malcolm.
So
we should be able to get one more regular round here with everybody, and then we'll be pretty close to Hail Mary by then. So we'll see what happens.
We'll kind of see where we're at then.
Yeah.
So this might be a bit of a controversial take because there actually is. I generally do try to avoid to bring up bad movies personally, but this is one that may be controversial because I think this is probably really loved, but I just didn't get into it. But it's Fantasia. Look, Fantasia is a D for me. It's one of those ones that I watched for the first time a wee while ago, and it's fine. But ultimately, as an animated anthology movie goes, there's probably only one or two segments I actually really do like. All the rest I just think is boring or unnecessary. And the two that I like, I can't even remember what they are now, but are good enough for me to not advocate for F. But so I'm putting Fantasia in D.
You're on the lines of like a Mark Ellis. He's famously known to dislike Fantasia. So.
Yeah, I remember he said that.
But
reviews. But Brian, what do you think of Fantasia?
Yeah, I agree with Malcolm. I'm not the biggest fan of Fantasia. I technically like Fantasia 2000 more, but the only time that I was so remember from Fantasia is the Mickey Mouse segment. That's pretty much it. The rest of it is very forgettable. So it's a D tier.
Yeah, Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, this one is like a B for me, because I can put it on, I can watch it, I can appreciate the music and how it goes along with the segments, the animated sequences that we're watching. I can appreciate it, and I think, Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think, if we were to rank the segments in there, like Sorcerer's Apprentice for me is like S tier. I think that is awesome. But yeah, some of them not as memorable, some of them really memorable. So it kind of just balances it out for me, right into that B tier. And we've had some hot takes on the show. For me, Fantasia 2000 over Fantasia is one of the biggest. I thought that was a mess. All the celebrity involvement that they got in that one, it just did not work for me.
Yeah,
that's Steve Martin in 2000, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, What do you think?
Yeah, I'll split the difference here. I'll go C tier for Fantasia because I do think that Mickey segment elevates it at least a little bit. Like you can watch that segment just alone, and I think it's very, very well done. But the rest of the movie is kind of forgettable. And yeah, I was never really into it that much, even as a kid. I thought it was kind of long and drawn out and sort of boring. The movie's over 2 hours, it's just too long. If they cut a segment or two, I think that movie would work way better. And yeah, so I don't think it's like the worst, but it's definitely one of the more ones that I think. I don't know. The internet might hold it to some high esteem that I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of with the panel on this one. So I'll split the difference and go C tier, something like that.
Yeah, like I'm actually the camp where I don't really mind Fantasia. Like I actually kind of do like classical music. Like I do. Like it's just if you want to relax and you just want to just chill out. Is it like I like listen to it sometimes, and yeah, the Mickey scene is definitely the best part. But it's not really one that I'm going to go back to that often. But for some reason, I just want to take like an edible and just vibe out and just watch it. Just watch the colors on the screen and just kind of chill out. I think that could be a fun experiment to like try out. But yeah, like I do actually, I kind of like it. So I'm gonna give it a B. Yeah, I'll say B.
Okay.
I will say internet does hold it in high regard. It's 95% of modern tomatoes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez.
But yeah,
95 is a bit too high.
2 B's, yeah, C and 2 D's. Jacob, yeah, right in the middle, C tier is where it's going to end up. So
Yeah.
This
there you go.
for me is like that perfect background
C-tier.
movie. Like you don't have to put it
Oh
on.
yeah, like
have
you
to
don't really pay attention
but you-
to it.
Yeah.
You look up, you're like, oh, he's doing the part where he's like throwing his hands up and the water's coming up. Okay, now he's being chased by the thing. You know, hey,
There's hippos that are doing ballet, like all that.
yeah, you're like kind of half on your phone. And you look up every now and then. You're like, oh, there's that scene. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember what my favorite segment is now. It's the Schönebog one. It's the night on Bald Mountain.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
That one's good too. Yeah.
And also, I appreciate that they actually have the sorcerer from Fantasia in the Kingdom Hearts. He's actually part of the storyline for Kingdom Hearts, so that's cool. Yeah, but Brian, you'll be up next. So what do you want to bring up?
Let's go with I'll go with Oliver and Company on this one.
Yeah,
I'll give it a B tier for B tier. See how the rest how it goes. This is my favorite retelling of Oliver Twist. I love this aspect of New York. Lot of fun with the characters Dodger versus Billy Joel. Another Don DeLuise role with Miss Fagan.
Why should I worry? Yeah,
Why should I care?
Yeah.
It's a good voice cast by Billy Joel himself, Dodger. You get Ben Miller as Georgette. And
the Dom DeLuise again in this one.
Yeah, he's in that one too. Yeah.
So I'll give it B tier for Oliver and Company.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, what do you think of Oliver and Company?
S tier song. I love the song. Why should I worry? I think that is really good. D tier movie. I don't hate this movie. I don't think it's like bad, but there's not a lot for me to enjoy either. I think Disney tried adapting Oliver with animals as they've done with quite a few properties, but it didn't work for me personally. There's moments that I like I mentioned the song, but overall, I'm not gonna go back to this very often. If anything, I'll just listen to the song, and that's my Oliver and Company fix.
Yeah.
I'll go D.
Sure. Austin.
So yeah, inadvertently, Battlegrounds helped me watch some of these movies very, very recently because, me and Will Cohen did a underrated Disney movie, something like that, and Will picked Oliver and Company. I picked Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I think is fantastic. I was able to argue that point, and I won. But so I watched Oliver and Company. Hadn't seen it again. This one I didn't grow up with. Hadn't seen it. Maybe I saw it once when I was a kid. Went back and watched it. I think this movie's pretty terrible. Honestly, I think this movie's pretty piss poor. I don't think the music's particularly memorable. The animation is very ugly and recycled. It feels like a 60s animated movie. Then when you look it up, it's like this is 1988, a year before Little Mermaid. for Disney, that's
But
pretty.
that's what all the good animators were working on.
This is pretty poor, and it's really like literally flat backgrounds. There's nothing going on. I don't think the story's particularly interesting. I don't think it really even has that much to do with Oliver Twist. Honestly, I couldn't really figure out a lot of what they were really trying to do with that connection. I think Dom DeLuise is one of the brighter parts. It has one or two decent songs, but I legit thought this movie was pretty piss poor when I watched it. I'm going to put it in a low D tier as well because it has one or two bright things. The opening 10 minutes is okay. So it's not the dirt worst. I've seen worse, but I'm going to go D tier as well for Oliver Twist. I think this movie's pretty bad.
I don't think that it's a D tier. I mean, like I actually like have some fun with it because I like the music. I like the of course the Billy Joel music, but then I mean even when the little girl loses the cat and then she's singing like the Together We'll Be or whatever, they're like singing about her cat and stuff.
Let's just say I had no problem arguing against this movie in the Battleground match. Let's just put it that way. And tearing it down. I had no problem whatsoever making notes for this one.
Yeah, well, and then I like Cheech Marin playing Tito too, the little Chihuahua, where he's like a chicken to pick it, a Chihuahua. I don't know the Spanish he uses, but he uses the like a super long name that like a lot of like Spanish or Latino descent have, but and yeah, like I mean I thought that it was fine. I mean I'll give it a B, and that's being a little generous, but I'll say B. Yeah.
All right, Malcolm may split the difference here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, like for this, I was always going to go C if it came up, but because Fantasia ended up in C, and I think Oliver and Company is still better than Fantasia, it is B. I mean, it's like with Austin, I had the same issue with Austin that had with Oliver and Company. Is like it's kind of loosely connected to the Oliver Twist story, and it's just one of those ones that does fall a bit flat, but it's still an enjoyable watch, so it's going to be B for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 Bs, 2 Ds. It's probably high C above Fantasia.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I see it, just like the drink. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Jacob.
Yeah.
Quite a few that I would love to see make the S tier. So trying to think of which one do I want to go with now, and which ones do I want to save for the Hail Mary. I'll go with one that I think I'm fairly confident will make the S tier. So I'm gonna go with The Land Before Time.
Yeah.
I think this movie is really good. It's another one that can hit on the emotions. It's a fun dinosaur movie. It's like 68 minutes, and 6 of those are the end credits. So it tells its story that it needs to in just over an hour. It's the Steven Spielberg dinosaur movie before Jurassic Park, even though he didn't direct it, but he was involved. I love these characters. It spawned 14 sequels.
Well, I can tell you right now, Jacob, because I've got the box set right here. 14 films.
Yeah, so 13
All
sequels.
14 films in the Land Before Time collection.
And yeah, I don't think any of them reached the level of The Land Before Time. I think like Littlefoot's mom dying was like the 80s version of Mufasa dying, like that hits you. That hits you.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm gonna go S tier for The Land Before Time.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
So I haven't cracked this open yet. I'm gonna crack it open right now because I want to know how many movies they cram on each disc and see how many discs it is. So
the original doesn't get its own.
So the original has its own right on the inside cover. This one just says Land Before Time. Okay, fair enough. So there's 2 on the next one, 2 on the one after that. It looks like about 2 per disc, which makes sense. I mean, that's if these are 65-minute movies, you can cram 2 on there. I
Got
just
like
want to see if
7
there
of
was, and the very last one, Journey of the Brave, has its own, but it might just because it's like an odd at that point. So, so if I had another day, I might have cracked this one because, man, it's been a minute since I sat down and watched Land Before Time, just the original. Again, I know I saw it on cable a lot as a kid, but, man, I probably haven't seen this in 25 years. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I can give a fair representation to this. I just know I remember liking it, but I would watch it if it was on, but not – I don't know. It's hard to say. I'll give it an A tier because if it was these S's have to stick with me. You know what I mean? So and that one, if I put a list together, I wouldn't put it on there. But I do think it's good. Has being a franchise, has it hurt it? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't cracked in and watched The Stone of Cold Fire or The Great Long Neck Migration or The Great Band of Fires or any of these other 13 movies. So I don't know. But I'll go A. I'll go A because I do think the animation's good from what I remember seeing and being a decent story. So sure.
Yeah. So I grew up watching this first one, maybe even the second one too. Because I remember in the second one they find like some kind of valley. It's like where it's like a paradise place, and if you leave the valley, it's like a wasteland where there's like a shark tooth or whatever, the T-Rex it's gonna come at in. And then somehow it gets in the valley. So, but like I'm not like over the moon about it. I mean, it does have one of the greatest scores by James Horner. That score, like that's where all the emotion, like for me, it just comes in. I'll put on this score all the time. I'll just play it. Like if you just play it, like man, like I get chills listening to the score. It's so good. But and I like how it's kind of like the first one's pretty dark, like for the most part. Like they have a big earth shake or whatever they call it. And then I remember just like all the little characters, like Littlefoot, Ducky, Petrie, Sarah. When I was a real little kid, I like Petrie, the little pterodactyl. But yeah, as far as right now, it's still good. I mean, so I'll also give it an A. But yeah, that'll be my vote.
I will give them credit. I'm scrolling through on IMDb. Each movie's like 70, 75 minutes. They know what they're doing as far as that goes. So I'll give them credit. They don't, none of these movies overstay their welcome. It seems like at 70, 75 minutes. So, I mean,
yeah.
At least get that part of it right. But these, man, they're playing they automatically play the trailers sometimes at the top of IMDb or screenshots or whatever. Man, these sequels look cheap. Boy, did they look cheap. Boy, these things look cheap as shit.
But the same care as the first one.
Yeah. The first one looks like a masterpiece of cinema compared to the animation of these sequels.
Yeah. Well, Malcolm, what do you think? And you're muted.
The reason for that is because Don Bluth isn't involved with the sequels.
Well, no, I'm sure he's not, but like directly. But I'm just saying, man. Yeah, these things they crank them out because they probably cost nothing to make. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like you think it's crazy that this is so many sequels. The speed that they did the sequels for the most of these is crazy because it was about 6 years between the first and the second one. Then from 94 to 2003, they had a sequel every year. They took a year off. Then from 05 to 07, they had a sequel each year, and then it was about 9 years before the most recent one, because the most recent one was 2016.
Oh wow, 2016.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's just crazy how they managed to churn out so many of those sequels in like each year. Well, yes, they're short, so I mean it's not that hard when you think about it. But still, when you think about a lot of these other animated movies, like they spent like years getting their animation right. So, so no wonder some of these sequels look cheap. But that being said, Land Before Time was one of the movies I rewatched when we did anime movies of the 80s because because I knew that it was like, well, there's a lot of Don Bluth movies here. I haven't seen a lot of these since I was a kid. I'm going to go and rewatch some of these.
Yeah.
And I had the same and enjoyment with Land Before Time. It's just such a good movie, so it's going to go S for me.
Yeah. Brian, what did you bring it up?
Yeah, for me, I would give it S as well. A lot. I enjoyed it a lot as a kid. Very short, like 60 minutes. As Chick would say, great
Mhm.
characters. I like a Don Bluth film, a different one that had brought up more. That had brought up yet for Don Bluth more, but for now I'll give it S tier.
All right.
All right,
So
so three S's and two A's. So yeah, about where it is right now, I guess. Yeah, it'll hang.
being the S,
Now.
yeah.
All right,
Uh-huh.
all right. So
All right. Well, Austin.
I'm up. Yeah, I'm torn between two. So I guess I'll have to say one for the Hail Mary one of choice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Cinderella, 1950. And for Esther, I still think this is one of the better, versions we've ever had of this. Again, another one I rewatched over and over again. Had a great time with. I really enjoy the mice, Gus and and those guys. Like I think they're legitimately funny. And good. That the stepmother is scary. They kind of keep her in the shadows a lot, and she's like got a nice little presence about her. It's quick, it's fast. 75 minutes. They kill it, and yeah, I think some of the sequences are genuinely beautiful when she first gets the dress and the pumpkin and everything. But yeah, I think it's really, really solid. And I mean, a lot of these early Disney movies are pretty damn solid. I don't think there's any like super bad ones or anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of more of a personal favorite, so I'll see where it ends up. But yeah, I'll go Cinderella for the rest of you.
Yeah. I like Cinderella, and I've had to see Cinderella and like all. I think there's only 2 sequels, or might be 3. I can't remember, but I've had to
There's
sit
2
through them all
sequels.
because my sister watched them all the time, my younger one, and then I dated this girl for a little while, and she was into them, so she wanted to watch them all. So I'm just like, okay, I don't really give a shit about the sequels, but
There's 2 sequels.
okay, yeah, but the first one's good though. The first one I actually really like. I like seeing the like fairy godmother, like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo's a lot of fun, and like not too many songs in it. Like they don't really overdo it, but I mean, but I have fun with like the 2 stepsisters sing Sweet Nightingale, like all that. Like I used to like. I remember like me and my sibling running around singing that as bad as we possibly could because that was kind of the point of that song. And yeah, so to me, I've always thought of Cinderella as the main Disney princess. Like she is the main one. Like for me. So
Well, I
so
mean,
yeah,
at the park, it is Cinderella's castle.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's Cinderella's castle. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, so I'll say A though. I'm not gonna quite go S, but I'll say A. Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like there's probably about 2 like of these classic Disney movies which actually have really good straight to DVD sequels. Lion King is one of them. Cinderella is the other. I think 2 straight to DVD sequels are actually really good for Cinderella. But with Cinderella, I mean, it's one of those ones like I do enjoy the animated one, but just like what I said of the Jungle Book, I go back to the live action remake a lot more. And
That's pretty good.
I think live action remake kind of overshadows it in a way. But I still think Cinderella is a good movie, but it's still going to be an A.
Yeah. Well, Brian, what do you think?
For me, S level for the mice parts of the film, but as a movie, I'll give it an A.
Yeah. And Jacob, what do you think?
I really like Cinderella. I don't love Cinderella. It's not one that I go back to personally, but I do. I think the songs are great, and like Austin said, like the animation, there are some sequences that are really beautiful. Like when she gets the dress and the fairy
there's like
godmother stuff
sequences
turning.
in the castle that are like there's these they're kind of half in shadow, like they do some cool stuff
Yeah.
with like the darkness of it, like
Yeah,
kind of wandering
that's
around.
really
Like
cool
it's
animation.
really unique for 50. It doesn't look it looks better than Oliver and Company. I'll say that shit.
Yeah.
And Oliver and Company was 38 years later. I think it looks way better. So yeah.
Yeah. So I have this at a high A.
Okay. So it'll
Yeah.
be right next to Snow White, kind of right in that mix of A. So maybe a contender for honorable mention. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, and you'll be the last one because we're bumping right up on that 2 hour mark. So this is
Yeah.
perfect. So hit
Yeah,
your
it's
last one,
perfect.
and then we'll go to the Hail
Yeah.
Marys. So yeah.
Well, so there's a few more S's that I have, but I want to go with one that can make a bit of an argument for, just to kind of like give my thoughts why I really like this movie. So I want to go with The Great Mouse Detective. So this is one I grew up watching all the time. I remember I had this huge it was like a 5 foot long like giant puzzle that I would like break out and build all the time. That was a replica of their main poster for the movie. And yeah, like this is a great Sherlock Holmes story. You have Sir Basil of Baker Street and playing the he's the Sherlock Holmes character. Then you have Dr. David Q. Dawson as like his sidekick, kind of like the Watson character. Then you have Professor Radigan. I think he's a really underrated villain. I really like some of the like traps that they set for him. They put him in like this like sort of like Rube Goldberg machine for the trap that kind of goes one thing after the other and like is about to kill him. So they like end in an actual mouse trap. And then there's some cool stuff with
real quick, Jordan, do you know who does the voice of Sherlock Holmes in this movie?
his name's Barry Ingram. I don't really know him that well.
His name's Basil Rathbone, actually.
Are you sure? Because I'm seeing it here. It says
I'm
Barry
on
Ingram.
IMDb. Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah, that's the like Sherlock Holmes. But then
yeah,
then you have
Barry Ingram is Basil.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the actual guy who plays Sherlock Holmes, like the actual Sherlock Holmes in the movie, it's kind of an Easter egg. It's Basil Rathbone played Sherlock Holmes in all the 40s and 50s Sherlock Holmes movies legitimately. And they brought him back to do a voice of the actual Sherlock Holmes, not Basil, but the Sherlock Holmes character. Like in
I always forget that they
pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have human characters also too that are like
right. So it's just a nice little Easter egg for anybody that catches it. They got the guy who played Sherlock Holmes in like a dozen British Sherlock Holmes movies to do the voice in there of the human character. That's all I'm saying. So
yeah, like that like actually reminds me of that because they're like they're like mice and then like they're like a kind of like an emulation of like what the humans are. So so that's cool. Yeah, and then there's a cool thing with it where they go to this toy shop and they have to like sneak through this toy shop. And it's a pretty cool scene with some big giant toys and stuff. So yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. And so I think it's pretty underrated. So I'm gonna say S tier for The Great Mouse Detective.
Right.
So we'll see what you guys think. Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those ones like when it comes to The Great Mouse Detective, like I do think it's a good movie, but it's just one that I don't quite know if I'll go back to it. I might go back to it if I need to, if it's like a tournament fights of the Disney animated movies or something like that. But and just for the thing, the Basil Rathbone thing, it's actually it's his voice is taken from the 6/6 Canemon Records recording of the Red-Headed League. He didn't actually come back to voice Sherlock in the movie.
Yeah, I just mean like it's cool that they got the guy who played him for forever to like do the voice in the movie. Like,
cool. I do think it's weird that they didn't use Nigel Bruce to come back, but
it makes sense that they named the actual like Basil Baker Street like after Basil Rathbone. They named him. So cool.
But I really do like Vincent Price's Radigan though. I think he's makes great fun. But for me, Great Mouse Detective is going to be a B though. It's just definitely not top tier Disney for me. So
sure, yeah. Well, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. For me, S level film, I'll give it a B B tier. It's a fun movie, but not for top 10 of the decade.
Sure, yeah. Well, Jacob, what do you think?
I really like the Grey Mask Detective. For me, this is on the level of Cinderella. Personally, I think Radigan is a really good villain. I think all the voice cast. I think it's just a really fun movie. I like the whole detective aspect of it. So I have it at an A. I think it's really enjoyable.
Yeah. Sounds good. I'm Austin.
Yeah, man. If I'd had like another week, it's like literally where they're at right now. Land Before Time, Great Mouse Day would have been the two I would have rewatched, like for sure. I would have popped both those on if I had just had a couple more days. Because yeah, it's been a minute, man. I this isn't one of the ones I owned growing up. Like I owned a decent amount of stuff. This isn't one of them. I watched it at like a friend's house. I think a friend had it, and we watched it a couple of times. One of my neighbors. So yeah, man, it's been 20, 25 years since I saw that one. I remember it, thinking it was pretty good, liking a lot of the set designs, a lot of the chases that they have in like those clock towers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those were fun. Vincent Price being pretty good. He's one of the reasons I want to go back and watch it because I'm a Vincent Price fan as an adult now. I want to go back and see this role. So I'll give it like an A minus. I like because I remember enjoying it, but it's again these ones that I have in the S are like those ones that really stuck with me a lot. So. I'll go A.
And I don't know if they've ever come out with a 4K of it yet, but like I think it's one that could really benefit from that. It could look really
there's
cool
a Blu-ray. There's a Disney Blu-ray, but
okay,
and it's on Disney Plus, obviously. But yeah, there's no 4K or anything. There's only been a couple of Disney 4Ks. I think they have Aladdin. They have There's only a select few so far. They're still kind of coming out of them. Disney's
Beauty and the Beast. Did they do that?
I don't know. Disney's not great with they're not putting out a lot of 4Ks right now. It's very strange. Even but most of the stuff associated with Disney, a lot of the Pixar's have 4Ks. But that's the closest thing we have.
Yeah,
I think because I have seen some people show like cases of 4Ks of some of the classic ones that they're releasing for their 100th anniversary this year. So maybe it's one of them that's in the works. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they should just release a bunch of them because it's their 100th anniversary. That's a huge milestone. So. Yeah. All right. Well, we can get into
let's get into our Hail Mary round. How this is going to work is I will go around the horn and ask everybody for just a short list of anything that still hits that S tier or like a high A tier for you. That's what we're shooting for. So anything that's still on there, go ahead and shout that out when I get to you. And again, even if somebody else has already shouted something out, chime in on that as well because I'll be looking for those crossovers, anything that gets mentioned more than one time. And then we will go back and do official voting for those films and see what the panel thinks. And as always, we've had stuff get into the S tier last minute, so there's definitely hope for anybody that wants to shout those out. There's always hope. We usually get at least one or two of them up in the S tier last minute. So we'll go around the horn and see what everybody thinks. Let me kind of get my notes ready here to write them down. And as you guys kind of put your list together or look over this last
is that all the ones left that are
this is everything that's left.
That's everything. So he's got it scrolled to the perfect spot where you can see that. Or again, the list is still in the private chat if you need to look at that. If you're ready, Malcolm, otherwise I'll come back to you, or whoever is ready first, I'll just take first. So
he was the last minute addition. So
so I understand. Yeah, but whoever's ready first, I'll go ahead and go.
I'll go.
I was about to say I'm ready. There's not a lot.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, Malcolm's ready to go. Go ahead. If you don't have that many, just give me what you got.
The Fox and the Hound, The Rescuers.
1 second. I gotta write them down. So go give me at least 2 or 3 seconds in between, so I can just jot them down real quick. Okay, Fox and the Hound. You said The Rescuers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And Dumbo.
Okay.
And is Kiki's Delivery Service is there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service.
Okay, Kiki. All right.
I have the Japanese too.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good. All right, Brian. Go ahead. What you got?
Yeah. All Dogs Go to Heaven.
All Dogs. Okay.
Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte. All right.
Let's see here. Robin Hood,
Robin Hood,
The Aristocats,
Aristocats. Okay.
Ichabod and Mr. Toad,
God. All right.
and Sword and Stone.
Sword and Stone. Okay.
I'll just go ahead out because it's pretty late for me, so just go ahead out.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks
So I'll
for
just count those.
hanging in
Are
there.
those all S tier for you?
S or A votes.
Okay, because I only say that if somebody has the crossover, I'll count your vote. So
S votes, yes.
So S votes.
S,
Okay.
okay.
All right. I'll just count them as S votes for you. Okay. Sounds good. All right.
See ya.
All right.
We're going. Oh,
So we'll
if
see
you
if
want to
Richie,
plug anything, but
No, that's
he was
fine.
quick.
We'll see if Richie gets back in time to vote on some of these. We'll see, or vote in the overall top
Yeah.
10 or something. We'll see. But Jacob, yeah, you ready to go with yours?
Yeah. So I will also go with All Dogs Go to Heaven,
Okay.
Castle in the Sky,
Castle
even though
Sky.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's going to mention
Sure.
it. Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki. Okay.
Where'd he go? Oh, The Secret of Nim.
Secrets of Nim. Okay.
And Watership Down.
Okay. So I just got to look at this list in live time for me. So pardon me. I'll go Dumbo. I know I will go Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Let's see. Again, pardon me as I'm kind of scrolling the list in real time. I'll also go Secret of Nim. I rewatched that one fairly recently. And that's it. I'm good. All right.
Okay.
Jordan?
I may have the most, but we'll see. I mean, it's not a crazy amount. But
You always do.
I
Jordan.
yeah.
I've only got 27 other S tiers, so here we go.
There's a lot that should be recognized. Come on. but yeah, I will second The Fox and the Hound. Then I'll say Robin Hood. I'll go 101 Dalmatians. The Sword and the Stone.
Okay.
I'll go Peter Pan.
All right.
I'll go Sleeping Beauty. Lady and the Tramp. And I'll go for the three Caballeros. And then Dumbo. That'll be all.
Sounds good. All right, so you guys talk amongst yourselves for about 60 seconds or so as I see which ones had the crossover, so I can write them down on my chart for the voting. So give me about 60 seconds. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
Yeah.
Any of these other movies that should or should not get a live action remake? Discuss.
Yeah.
The Black Cauldron is ripe for a live action remake. What they should do is remake the movies that are, mediocre, not well received, and that is The Black Cauldron.
Or movies like Hunchback, which have had live action versions, like with the Universal Monster stuff, but would be really good for a live action update that hasn't been one in a long time. Yeah.
Or The Sword and the Stone. I think that'd be a cool one for live action. For that, but we also have Steven. He's a fan of Fantasia, so
sorry, Steven,
that's
we're
one.
not.
Yeah.
I think they are doing a live action remake of Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Just
I
not.
thought that was a fake fan poster that was going around because I know that was fake, but I've heard rumors, but I think that would be right for it. I think it'd be good. So,
I think they have announced that they are doing a Hunchback of Notre Dame live action movie. That poster that was put around a while ago is a fake fan poster that was made by Jonah Hill. It was no, I think it was Josh Gad actually, but yeah.
Please don't have Josh Gad.
As far as I know, I don't think any casts have been announced for it.
I don't want Josh Gad as the Hunchback. Please,
no,
God,
I do not.
No,
it's got to be someone who just a
serious actor.
A serious actor that's killing it today. Just think of someone who's doing that.
Peter Dinklage,
Danny DeVito.
No, it doesn't have to be a little person, really,
If it,
or,
no,
or a
Jordan,
short guy.
Jordan, if it can be Danny DeVito, it should be Danny
Okay.
DeVito.
Yeah, probably not.
I was
but-
watching this. I was watching this show, and they were playing a game, and they were supposed to pitch the worst Superman. And two people go give terrible answers, and this guy comes up. He's like, "I think I misinterpreted the question because I think I accidentally pitched the best Superman because I have Danny DeVito." And I'm like, "Yes,
I think
now I
I've
want
seen
to see
that
Danny
before.
DeVito
Yeah,
as Superman."
that
I
same
mean-
show. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's one of those ones that I think a short person playing Quasimodo might actually work better than a someone who's sort of a regular height, because if you look at the thing, like, he is still shorter than a lot of the, like, Esmeralda and all that. So I think a short person would kind of work better for live action. But yeah,
All right. Well, I'm
gonna say I would have gone with the guy who played freaking Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. He already did a live action guy in there, but I would have gone with Luke Evans.
Luke Evans, yeah.
Yeah, I think he could have done it.
yeah.
But
All right, I've got 7. We'll do some quick votes on.
Okay.
I think 3 of these were one Brian voted S, so I'll include his votes when we get to those. Which were Sword in the Stone, All Dogs, and Robin Hood, I believe, were the ones he voted and had crossovers on. So we'll just start with those because I've got his vote as S. So we'll go Sword in the Stone, Malcolm.
Yeah, it's a B for me.
Okay, Jacob.
C.
oh,
Yeah, I think I saw it like once. Wasn't really into it. I think it'd be better as live action. I'll go C.
oh man, you guys are killing me. I'd go S. Easy.
So 2 S's, a B, and 2 C's is like very low A, maybe high B, if that.
Yeah.
Something. It's low A, bottom of A.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. Maybe even high B above Winnie the Pooh. I don't know. Somewhere in there. All right.
Pretty lonely.
Yeah,
Let's
so-
do
Yeah.
company.
Sure. All right. We'll go with the other 2 that Brian had just because I've already got his vote. We'll go All Dogs Go to Heaven. Malcolm.
A.
Okay. Jacob.
S.
B.
I've never seen it, so
Okay. 2 S's, an A, and a B. That's like mid A territory, somewhere in there. All right. We'll go Robin Hood. Malcolm.
C.
Wow. Okay. Jacob.
C.
B.
Killing me, Malcolm.
I'll go A.
I go S. Easy. Like even higher than Sword in the Stone. S. Man.
2 S's, A, B, C. Low A once again. So
This is where
right next to.
yeah, Great Mouse Detective. And
this is where I'm different than everyone. Is on the Hail Mary run. I'm in that role now.
yeah. All right, so we'll go back to some of the other ones. We'll go with Kiki's Delivery Service. Malcolm.
S.
Okay, Jacob.
S.
Haven't seen it. Big surprise.
Yep, I haven't seen it either. Another surprise.
Haven't seen the territory. We need
We'll leave it there unless Richie gets back before we start
We'll
ranking.
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
He doesn't have much. He doesn't have much more time because once we start
No.
ranking, it's over. So
I kind of feel like he's not
I'll
gonna
leave it
make
down for now.
yeah. Secret of Nim, Don Bluth, Malcolm.
A.
Okay, Jacob.
S.
S.
Well, I appreciate how dark it is because they're doing some dark, crazy things in that movie. I gotta say B.
I don't know if anything's gonna make it an S tier. We'll see.
Yeah.
2, 1, and 1. So yeah, another mid A. All right.
I mean, it's one of those ones, like, when you realize what NIM stands for, you kind of understand how dark it's going to be, because
Not in my house.
yeah.
Wait, what does it stand for again? Do you remember?
National Institute of Mental Health.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I always thought it was not in my house.
All right. We got 2 more. 2 more kind of classic Disneys. We'll go Peter Pan. Malcolm.
A.
Jacob.
A.
I'll go S.
And I would say S.
All right. 2 and 2. So we're gonna have a lot of contenders for honorable mentions. I don't know how the hell we're gonna deal with this. This is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be more interesting dealing with the honorable mentions than dealing with the S tier, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's one of those ones like there's a couple that weren't mentioned at all for the
Yeah,
Hail Mary rounds that
yeah.
I'm kind of surprised about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can talk about that.
Yeah.
And the last one with crossovers is Dumbo. Malcolm.
Yes.
Okay, Jacob.
A.
S.
I'll say A. This is another mid one.
Oh, but you mentioned it in yours, so it's not an S?
No, just an A for me.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say S, and then we get it in there. Because now something's going to have to get the bump, I think, or a couple. So we have 9, right? Okay, so one has to get the bump. This is going to be interesting. I got to go back to the votes and see what we got.
But
yeah.
if we're talking about some of the music from Dumbo, I'll say S.
Okay, so I will start with everything that got 2 S votes, and then if there were other votes, the ones that skewed the highest, maybe for our contenders, Jacob. I'm trying to look back and see.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that got 2s, but also had high stuff behind it, is going to be not really any of our earlier ones, because some of those had like a couple of B votes and things. What skews the high? Okay, I would say Dumbo, Peter Pan. Actually, Dumbo and Peter Pan will be our 2 contenders because those each had 2 and 2. Everything else had B votes here and there, or even a C. So Dumbo and Peter Pan will be our 2 contenders to get the bump, I believe, because Alice in Wonderland had 2 S's, A, and 3 B's, so that's a little lower. So I think
I was gonna say that I appreciate you use a lot of these classic posters because we have this like really old school movie theater, and they have a lot of these old classic posters still hanging, and they're all original posters hanging up in the theater, and it's like really cool. Reminds me of that. Yeah.
So I wish we still had 5 people because there's potential for ties here, and that's gonna bug me.
We got people watching.
Yeah, do we have to do it? Or, okay, are there people in the chat? Or if anybody's in the chat, like Steven or somebody, get ready to do something in case we have a tie here. So,
or Sarah, if she's still awake, she texted me and said she might be falling asleep. But
okay, well, if anybody's in the chat, just be ready on the chat because in case we have a tie, but we may or may not. We'll see. So we'll vote for either Peter Pan or Dumbo to get the bump. Malcolm.
Dumbo.
Jacob.
Dumbo.
You know, given the 2, I'm gonna go Dumbo.
No, I would have gone Peter Pan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go slight Dumbo. I think it deserves it. It's pretty that acid trip sequence or the alcohol sequence is pretty damn interesting.
For me, it's just like too short. It's like one of the shortest Disney movies. I'm like, there's a case to be too short. I think sometimes.
All right.
I mean, the length was fine for what the story was.
Like an hour and 20.
It didn't need to be
an
hour and 2.
So I think, but again, because of the votes, I think Peter Pan is the lock for an honorable mention because of the votes. Alice in Wonderland could be a contender because we had, well, it's another one that had 2, 1, and 3. Again, I'm going with the ones that had 2s. Let me see. What is that? Grave of the Fireflies?
Yeah. No, I was the only S for Snow White, so we can push that back.
Yeah. Cinderella had.
I think you were the only S for that.
Well,
right?
Cinderella is very similar to Snow White, where it was like 1 and 4, so that can get bumped down a little bit. Secret of Nim had 2, 1, 1. All Dogs again a 2, 1, 1. Great Mouse Detective only had 1, so that gets bumped down a little bit. 1 S vote.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood had 2 S's, but it had a C in there too, and like an A and a B. So that's probably going to stay down there, unfortunately.
Robin Hood's like one of my top of this whole thing.
So I think it's going to be between Alice, Grave, Nim, and All Dogs to get those 2 slots. So 2 out of those 4, I believe, are gonna snag it. So we may, I got to figure out how we're actually going to do this vote. So I guess we'll just vote for 2, and we'll see where the votes go and see what happens. And if we have kind of ties, we'll break it down a little bit more. So, so Malcolm, out of those 4 in order right there, between Alice and All Dogs, those 4. So it's Alice, Grave of the Fireflies, Secret of NIMH, and All Dogs. Which 2 would you put in honorable mention territory out of those?
Grave of the Fireflies and All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Okay, Grave and All Dogs. Jacob, what would you go with?
Grave and NIMH.
Grave and NIMH. I'll go NIMH and Alice in Wonderland. Jordan.
I would go Grave of the Fireflies and Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, so Grave of the Fireflies got 3 votes, so that's a lock, or at least one of the spots. And then NIMH and Alice each had 2, so I think All Dogs is eliminated. Now we may have to go back and vote now for between Alice and NIMH. So let's do that really, really quick, Malcolm. And we may have a tie again, so get ready in the chat. And we'll see. We'll see. So Malcolm, Secret of NIMH or Alice?
We've got a lot of Disney movies represented, so NIMH.
Okay, Jacob?
NIMH.
Yeah, I go NIMH as well. I think Bluth gets that spot.
I would have gone Alice. So.
Okay, so NIMH's going to get that last spot. Okay, so our 3 honorable mentions are locked. That'll be Peter Pan, Grave of the Fireflies, and Secret of NIMH for honorable mentions. Again, good movies in there. I don't think anybody disagrees with the A tier. There's some good movies in there. Just a lot of those, like, they're on that A level, but it's like not quite. There's just a lot of those. So a lot of those.
I did my own ranking when I made this, like, just to see where the A tier, like, of all the movies was so full.
Yeah. The A tier's kind of packed.
Dumbo is the one that got the bump, so that'll stay at number 10. And then all 3 of those, Brave Little Toaster, Transformers, and let's see. So literally Transformers, Brave Little Toaster are exactly the same, 3, 2, 1. And then Land Before Time has 3, 2. It just doesn't have that extra B, but that's because we have one less person voting on it. So to be fair, they're all about the same. What we'll do is maybe go around real quick, and what would be the top of those 3 for everybody? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
which 3 are they?
Out of Brave Little Toaster, Transformers, Land Before Time, what would be your top of those 3? Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
What would be the top of that mini list? Malcolm.
Brave Little Toaster.
Okay, Jacob.
Land Before Time.
Brave Little Toaster.
And I would go Transformers.
Transformers. Brave Little Toaster, 2 votes. Gets it. So now we can vote between Transformers and Land Before Time. Which one gets takes the top of that one? So Malcolm, Transformers or Land?
Land Before Time.
Okay, Jacob.
Land Before Time.
Transformers.
And I say Transformers.
Oh, we have a tie. So do we go to the chat? Steven, are you in the chat or anybody else?
If anyone's in there, they've got 4 people watching. So if anyone's,
what would you have higher? Land Before Time or Transformers the movie? Which would be higher for the chat?
Theoretically, he still is in there because his last comment was at 5 p.m. my time, but whatever time it is for everyone else.
Mm-hmm. So if we have to wait a minute for that, that's fine. But yeah, anybody in the chat that wants to chime in on Land Before Time or Transformers, we might.
If you have to go to a wheel, I mean, it might take
Steven says Land Before Time, so there you go. So Land Before Time will get the bump. So
all right,
all right, that's fine. So we'll swap those 2, and then there you go. All right, now.
Sad.
Okay, so out of the rest of these, there's a couple with 4. Pinocchio has 4 too. Boy, it's a good thing I keep track of these, right, Jordan?
Yeah,
I do a good service for us on this show.
Yeah,
the way I keep track of all this stuff. Yeah. So Pinocchio has 4 S's, 2 A's. Neighbor Totoro has 4 S's and a B. Jungle Book has 4 S's and an A. So Jungle Book a little higher than Totoro, just with that 1 A over B. And Akira has 4 S's and a C. So unfortunately, that's going to stay where it is. Now we may have to vote between Pinocchio and Jungle Book because those are about on the same level, which gets that 3rd spot. So that's what we're going to do next. So Malcolm, Pinocchio or Jungle Book?
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book. Jacob.
Jungle Book.
Man, this is tough. This is like tournament fight stuff. Jungle Book.
I would also go Jungle Book.
Okay,
Oh,
so
nice.
Jungle Book will get the bump.
So,
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and the other two are locked because American Tail had 5 S's and an A, and Little Mermaid was clean sweep. So no debate there. It just
All
is
right.
what it is right there. No debate needed. So that's going to pretty much do it as far as according to the votes. So we have our 10 and we have our 3 honorable mentions. So there
This
we
one's
go.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's definitely interesting to me. Which ones made the S tier? I mean, like none of them are a lock to me. I would think besides Little Mermaid, like anything could happen.
Well, I mean, I think it shows that maybe it's an underrated era for like what could make it on here, what personal
Yeah.
preferences are maybe more than anything, and what people watched kind of growing up and what affected everybody. But I think it's a nice mix of movies because there we have, one kind of quintessential Renaissance movie at the top that I think a lot of people agree with, obviously with the sweep, and then we've got 2 blues in there. Actually, 3 blues with Brave Little Toaster, I believe, right? Or Brave Little Toaster is independent. That's an independent one. That's not either. Yeah, Brave Little Toaster is like an indie movie kind of.
You're muted, Malcolm. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you're mic's off.
Yeah, technically, Brave Little Toaster is loosely Disney, but
It's not
yeah.
Disney Plus over here either. Yeah, it's like a weird one.
I mean, the 2 sequels are on Disney Plus, but not the OG.
Yeah, so but we got 2 1940s Disney movies, like classic era. We've got a 60s one, another kind of classic era of the 60s. We've got a Ghibli movie on there. We got a cartoon based on, or a movie based on an 80s cartoon, which is fun. A TV show one.
Yeah.
Transformers, and then we've got a more kind of R-rated, hard edge anime movie. So I think that's kind of interesting. I like the mix. Yeah.
I mean, for
no
me,
the cat.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I mean,
no X-rated ones.
That does bring on to segue to what I was going to say. Like, I'm surprised no one brought up Lord of the Rings. Considering
I watched it for when I was doing a retrospective of the podcast. That movie's not great. I'm sorry, it's not good. It's very kind of wonky, bad animation. It's not very interesting. But let's just say the movie's blown out of the water. Yeah, it's not very good.
I'm just curious. Has anyone seen the sequels to the Brave Little Toaster? Like,
I remember seeing the Mars one
any
a
good?
lot, actually. I think they're okay. I
wonder if they're any good.
But I don't think they touched the original, but I think they're okay.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
They're definitely not as good as the original, but they're still a fun watch.
They're fun little short watches. Yeah. So if there's nothing else, should I break it down, Jordan, and we'll wrap things up? What do you say? All right.
And break it down. Yeah.
Okay. So at our number 1, overwhelmingly, it's going to be Disney's The Little Mermaid. Number 2 is going to be Don Bluth's An American Tail, produced by Steven Spielberg. Number 3, we have the original Jungle Book. Number 4, we have Disney's Pinocchio. Number 5, our Studio Ghibli entry on here with My Neighbor Totoro. Number 6, we have the anime Akira. And number 7, we have The Brave Little Toaster. Number 8, The Land Before Time. Number 9, Transformers the Movie. Number 10, Disney's Dumbo. And our 3 honorable mentions this evening will be Disney's Peter Pan, The Great Mouse Detective, and another Don Bluth scooting in there with The Secret of Nim.
Wait, no.
Not the Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah, is Agree with the Fireflies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why is it weird on my screen?
It's hold on.
Oh, because it's so close.
The bottom of the poster. Let me.
Oh, I saw the bottom of the poster.
Yeah, the
bottom
of the poster just looks.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no,
there you
confused me. It confused. There we go.
No, it does look like.
Pay no attention to what's.
No, it did look like the top of that poster was.
No, I swear to God, that's what it looked like. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Honorable mentions of the evening. It was almost The Great Mouse Detective. No, it'll actually be Peter Pan, Grave of the Fireflies, and Secret of Nim. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
No, that confused me because I saw the text right at the bottom. It looked like the poster. My bad on that one.
Yeah. And last thing on Brave Little Toaster is the Goes to Mars has the final performance of Star Trek actor DeForest Kelly.
All right.
Welcome back to the end of the show.
Oh, you done at the end, damn it.
All right. Well, hey, now that it's over, he can't affect the voting, but let's see where Richie would have voted on some of these for fun.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Richie. It is locked. It is over. It's done. You just missed the Hail Mary round, and we just did our individual, going around the horn and
everything,
and switching things around. But yeah, so we have Little Mermaid at number 1 because that was a clean sweep. Animated An American Tail at number 2, Jungle Book at number 3, Pinocchio number 4, My Neighbor Totoro. We have Akira Brave Little Toaster, Land Before Time, Transformers, Dumbo. Dumbo slid in last minute with kind of a split. We had to do some voting there, and then a lot in the A's, but we finally broke it down to. So we had to have a couple of votes for honorable mentions, but we got Peter Pan, Grave of the Fireflies, and Secret of Nim. So you can scroll down a little bit, see the other A's that almost made it. It was like there was a lot of votes where it was like 2, 1, and 1, or two S's, 2 B's for some of those, like Robin Hood, Great Mouse Detective,
some of the
Cinderella, things like that. So we had Sword of the Stone and Winnie the Pooh's ended up in B's. Oliver and Company ended up in
C's. Have any
C's.
F's though? There's no F's.
No F's, and the only one that wasn't seen was Fritz the Cat.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Well, Kiki's Delivery Service had 2 S's, almost made it at the end, but only 2 people had seen it. So, we didn't have it quite make
so
it. So,
had you showed up 10 minutes earlier, what would you have given Kiki's Delivery Service?
Yeah, I haven't. It's on my list to watch.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Okay,
that's what I was curious about.
But that seems all right. The only thing I like Jungle Book. I like the music, but I probably would have put it A. But I don't know, but I wouldn't have put it that high. But it's all right.
Gotcha.
That would be nice too.
So interesting thing, you missed our whole discussion about it, Richie, but Jordan and I were the ones who first advocated pretty early for Akira to be in the the anime movie, which is really odd.
Yeah,
but we both watched it for the first time and kind of liked it. So
it was great. That movie is intense and it's bloody and it's like
but I think I was the one who actually nominated it. Jordan was gonna nominate it right after me if I didn't, and then Jacob is a fan of it. So.
It was a very bizarre multiverse. But, I wasn't a fan of it.
I would advocate for it if I came in early.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
But cool. Yeah, I think that will do it for us tonight. So that was a fun time. So you're just in time to just do some plugs, Richie. So you get your plugs out there. So where can we find you?
You can find me on obviously here Tournament Fights. I've signed up for a few things. You can I'll go back through and see what I've signed up for. But I signed up for heaps of stuff, so I'll be on there soon. You can catch me on wrestling, combat wrestling trivia. You can find me tomorrow doing Lights Out trivia on JP3's channel, where I take on Andrew Dim Simmons, JPO, and Steve Mesa for the Lights Out Championship. And I'm going to, but despite what they're going to say, they're saying I'm going to win the match. And anyway, I get doing wrestling movie trivia on Jordan's channel. Do podcasts that Tom streaming. The last episode that went up was a movie called Dead Sexy, where ghosts haunt these hot chicks and do other stuff. Anyway, it's a weird movie. We're recording one today, watching a 1960s movie called Hideout in the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
All about just got. We don't plan this, but it's got But there's the last few movies we watched are very kind of horny. So just there's a lot of boobs. So, but
wait for Kilby to add Fritz the Cat, and then you can add that to the list.
Yeah,
I don't even know. I'll try to add Fritz. I don't know how much I can show clips wise. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can show a hospital four-way.
It's only 2 scenes. There's a lot that you can show. You just can't show the best parts, obviously.
Oh yeah. Okay. But check that out, and
cool. Sounds good. And Malcolm, where can we find you?
Just looking at the placement of some of the movie posters with our screens, like it looks like Brave Little Toast becomes Rave Little Toast, and then Grave the Fireflies is Rave Fire.
Yeah, right. Brave Little Toast, yeah. Rave of Fire, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But but yeah, you can also find Richie next week competing in Final Destination trivia
that's right.
over on Full Metal.
Oh
we haven't
shit!
quite.
Did I
we
not
haven't-
sign up for that? I'd love to do some Final
I
Destination trivia.
think I might have you down for one, but it's.
Oh, okay. I
But
gotcha.
yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
There's lots of people wanting Final Destination trivia, surprisingly.
Gotcha. That's cool.
But yeah, you can also sort of so you can find me hosting that next week. We might also have a second Formula Random match next week as well, which is a match called Inner Feastum, which is about food and geek movies, which was a really infuriating one for me to organize, but I did it. I just hope it happens because I don't want to have wasted all that time just for nothing.
That's a Nico match, isn't it?
It is a Nico match.
Yeah, that's something you'd throw out.
But yeah, you can also find me on Movie Hero Network. I believe I'm on both the April 1st episode and the Austin's one on Sunday.
Well, I think we're still doing it on Friday. We just might go later.
Yeah, we're doing it Friday. So if you're able to make it, we do have an open spot, but it depends on your schedule. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't know I did move back to Friday, and I know last time.
Then we talked about it, and like people are going to be watching like WrestleMania and like all this stuff. So yeah, I didn't want to cut into that. So we just I forgot my parents are treating me to like a whole night of stuff. We're going to like this race and stuff, so we might start a little later. But I will say this: anybody that's on there, since there's no topic, no theme, no nothing, it's just random movies. I don't mind if we like do like a fast tournament, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
we're literally like, you guys see the match. Oh shit, 2 random fucking movies. Okay, I choose that one for whatever reason. Like we can go fast. Like there's no theme of like this one's the better topic movie. Like we can just go through it quickly. I'm fine with that. So yeah.
So unfortunately, I probably won't be on that then.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, like if it was a just a little bit day extra because our daylight saving in New Zealand hits this weekend, so everything would have moved backwards for me, but not Friday.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they make Sunday when daylight saving happens, but that's just a whole story for another thing.
It is here too. So.
Yeah.
But you can find me on Take 3 where I host Rankin usually every Sunday, but once again, because of WrestleMania, I decided to move it. So we're doing it on Thursday at 7:30, and next week's topic is going to be video games that we think should be made into movies. So that should be a very fun topic. And you can find me if you're doing other things. Whenever there's trivia tournaments and that, I'll be there.
Yeah, sure. Well, Jacob, where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm mostly here. I pop up other places, but this is the main place. Thursday we'll be doing Lonely Marks. We'll be doing our WrestleMania dream cards.
Should probably start working on that.
I've got mine done, and I am ready to surprise some people with some of my choices. I tried to make it different from last year's, which Richie, Jordan Owens and I did, but Austin did not. So
I didn't. So I might have a lot of cliche picks. We'll see, but it is what it is. I didn't do one last year, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun as well as predictions. I'm looking forward to it because WrestleMania does look to be the card is shaping up pretty nicely. I'm excited, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and we might do what we do after the pay-per-views. We're gonna do Lonely Marks on Monday, maybe like Monday night.
When we do like the big pay-per-view, they're not pay-per-views anymore. They're premium live. Instead of waiting 4 or 5 days to talk about it.
We'll talk about it
do it Monday. We got nothing going on the channel, so go.
So we'll take the Monday slot instead, and we'll do that on Monday. We'll have a quick turnaround for Lonely Marks, and talk about it.
And we can argue the merit that Stacey does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't see why this is an argument. If you're gonna draft valets and divas, like she's as good as any of the other ones.
She was one of the more popular women of her era. So.
And she's one of the women that didn't resort to a boob job either, so she deserves props for that.
Yeah,
to get popular. So yeah.
Well,
and Jacob and I will eventually do our Sean Connery show. I just don't know when the hell that's actually going to happen.
I was feeling pretty sick.
We'll figure it out because we have WrestleMania this weekend too, so that's pretty loaded, and the April Fool's. I don't know. We'll wait. We have to bump it another week. We'll see. And
I rewatched Goldfinger though, and I'm excited to talk about that.
Goldfinger's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. It was even better.
Goldfinger's great. That's like one of my favorite James Bond movies. Period. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. So we'll get to that eventually, but it's okay. We don't have we're loosey goosey with podcasts about movies, so it's not like a big deal. But yeah, I mean that's all I got going on. I'll be on Lonely Marks with everybody else, and like I say, my mystery tournament should be a lot of fun. Be a little later, but again, if we want to do like a fast paced, quick tournament, I'm totally cool with that because it's my tournament, damn it, and it's my thing, and Jordan's letting me take the reins on that one.
Yep.
So I can make the rules for that, so we can go quick. And it's not like a super serious topic or anything, so we'll just have some fun and go quick, and that'll be a good time. So
I was gonna have a date Friday night, but I said no. But it's my co-host's birthday. We got to let him do his show. We'll reschedule. So my date's Thursday. So it works out.
We're shooting for 10 p.m. Eastern. That's when I'm going to try to push to be back. But I'm also riding with other people, and that's one of my pet peeves. I don't like to do that, but I don't really have a choice in the matter. So I don't like, because I don't have choice of when I leave. So I hate that, but I'll do my best to be on time. I promise.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And you can find us as always on all the social medias at Movie Hero 2121 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us on my personal Instagram at Jordan83616, and then you can find us doing some quite a bit over in the Showdown Friends and Family group. We do a lot of updates there and some polls when we have a tournament fight. That our poll from our last tournament fight should be popping up there soon. So we have a Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/moviehero, which I'm gonna have to look at. We have a trivia show called The Scene in Her Trivia. I saw that it got blocked, so I need to see what that is. If it's something that I'm able to fix and keep it on the channel, or if it has to move over there. So just keep your eyes open for that. It is currently blocked. I'm gonna look at it when we're done here and see what's going on with that. Because I expect some of that, because we definitely have copyrighted material in our trivia. So, we've been working on doing some more drafts. We just did a big superhero draft, which you'll be able to find over on the Patreon soon. What I'm going to do is we had the raw version live where we didn't have any kind of graphics or anything. I'm going to add in all the graphics for all of our picks, and then I'm going to put it up over on the Patreon. It'll take a few days for it to show up there, so maybe by Monday, you might see it show up there. So, and then just what we have coming up for tournament fights and tier rankers. So we already talked about Austin's mystery tournament, and then we have an April Fool's show that's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't say anything, but just tune in and you'll find out about that. It'll be something really unique and fun, something we haven't ever done for a tournament fights before. So, and then we'll be doing next Tuesday. Actually, we'll be doing Malcolm Lay's championship episode. So we're finally getting around to that one. So we got that coming up. And then for the release of the movie Air, we have Matt Damon versus Ben Affleck.
It's a battle of Boston.
Yeah, the Battle of Boston. Yep. Which I'm hearing really good things about that movie Air. So it could maybe be an Oscar contender. Maybe.
Looks good.
Yeah.
It's funny. We talked about some of my favorite sports movies are movies that don't have the sport in it that much, like Draft Day and Moneyball. So,
yeah, right.
Behind the scenes, stuff having to do with the sport. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that they banked that they made the Air Jordan. They banked on Jordan before he was a thing.
Before he was in the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah. Before he was even in the NBA. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. So and then we'll have a week doing best movie duos and best movie teams. We'll be doing that on a Tuesday and a Friday. It'll be a part 2 of each of those. So we're getting back in those one. Then our next animated movie series will be best animated movie from 2000 to 2009. So we're gonna cover the
Woo, Jacob! Those
the
2000, we
2000s,
saved them for last because
so-
holy cow, the 2000s and the 90s shows are both
Yeah.
getting stacked. And
Yeah, they're gonna be
tough.
stacked.
Yeah, we're gonna be like, oh my god, that list has got to be close to 100, right? It has to be.
Oh,
Both of-
yeah.
Well, not the 90s, but yeah, 2000s.
2000,
Yeah.
not the 90s one. 90s
2000.
a little less, but oh my god, was the 2000s? Was everybody cranking on everything?
2000 is 90.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
think.
Yeah, wow, that's gonna be rough. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have our best movies of 2013 ladder series. So me and Malcolm have been hashing that out a little bit. So yeah, that's coming up soon. And then I'm gonna be doing a mystery tier ranker. So I'm gonna be doing basically the same thing Austin's doing, but I'm gonna do it as a tier ranker. I'm gonna have a little pre-show that'll be a few days before I'll announce when it's gonna be. Or if you just follow our social media, or if you're subscribed, you can hit the little bell. So if you haven't subscribed yet, that definitely helps us out a lot because we're gonna be doing some giveaways once we get to 200 subscribers. But and then we have let's see, and then I'll just throw in just a couple of extra bonus ones. We're doing best movies with punctuation in the title. That's coming up at the beginning of May. And then we also have our best movie teams and movie duos championships will be around the 1st of May. So
Can we
so
have
that's
our Nick Cage Keanu Reeves thing on the 21st? Did you miss?
Oh
that?
yeah, sorry. I think I actually skipped over that one for some reason.
Because
Yeah,
that's a
on
big one because we have Paul Preston, Adam Witt, and Kevin Smets on there.
Yeah.
So that one's gonna be big.
Yeah, that'll be a big one. Yeah, so yeah, that'll be on
I haven't had
the
that.
21st. So it'll be about a week after the release of Renfield, so we can include that one on there. So which looks really fun, like the last trailer that they dropped. Like it looks like a ton of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, but then also too, like. So I mentioned that we're gonna have a winner for our 100 subscriber giveaway. I ended up getting really busy. I haven't gotten to it yet, so it is gonna happen. Hopefully by Friday, I'll have that. So yeah,
I'll just give you my information.
yeah, right. Well, and while I'm looking at why our last draft, our super. Or no, not the superhero. The trivia. Why that got blocked? I'll be in the little YouTube studio thing to look over that, and then that's where I can see all of our subscribers and put them in the randomizer, all of that. So yeah, I'll do that tonight. So, but yeah, that'll do it for us tonight. Though that was a fun time. So it's only going to get tougher from here as far as these animated tier rankers go. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, but. For Richie, for Malcolm, for Jacob, for Austin, for Brian Nussbaum, I've been Jordan, the movie hero Anderson, and we will see you next time.